Live.
We're live.
All right, we're live. What's going on, everybody? Appreciate y'all logging on. Welcome to Bass and Beer Radio. I don't even know what episode this is for us, but it's over 10, I would assume, because we started.
Yeah, it's a good amount now.
It's gonna go ahead and get the post shared on Facebook and get some more folks tuned in to what we're doing here. And
Here we are.
We are on.
let's get it
We
shared.
got very special.
So we got a couple
Special
topics
guest.
tonight. Obviously, before we go over that, I want to introduce our new guest. So we right here to my left, y'all's right on the screen. We have Greg Hall, and then we also have Scott Sewell right here. Both these guys are in the Middle River Bass Club. Greg and all of us here have fished Joppatown together for years. Scott is and Scott, correct me if I'm wrong, the Maryland Bass Conservation Director.
Conservation Director from Maryland Bass Nation.
So before we even go any further, I just want to say thanks, Scott, because you're part of the reason why Joppatown has come back the way it has. So we appreciate everything that you're doing. for us there.
100%.
Absolutely.
We've put a lot of effort into
Oh, yeah.
down in the Guntown River. A lot of fish.
It's much appreciated too.
And like it's the difference is very noticeable for sure. Like we've definitely noticed a huge difference in the fishery, because it's just gotten a lot better. I would say I've caught a lot more fish in there in the last number of years than I have for a long time.
And you guys put in some pretty decent sized bass too, like not just little yearlings.
The
either.
last
Like, you guys
couple
put
of
in some
years, yeah.
pounders, pound and a half, 2 pounds.
I've been running this stocking program for over 15 years. And initially we would buy fish about 6 to 8 inches, get a couple thousand of them, depending on how much money we raise. This is all volunteer money. People donate, businesses and individuals is how we buy these fish from an approved vendor. And I decided a couple years ago, we raised a little more money. Instead of buying 6 to 8 inch fish, let's get 12 inch or bigger fish.
Mhm.
So that's what we did. And last year we had some fish as large as 14 and a half
Wow.
that we put in there, because the bigger the fish you put in, the better the odds of survival.
Yep.
And these were not old fish that were captured somewhere. These were fish that were raised in ponds. Delaware University does a lot of studies, and at the end of the season, they just sell their bass. So we've got contacts there. We've got bass as far away as Kansas, Arkansas, and we got a vendor. He's like a broker. He finds these fish, goes and gets them and brings them back, and we buy them. These big fish are not cheap. They cost like $20 a piece.
Wow.
So, and this year we're going to do even more, because I've raised quite a bit more money this year. I couldn't say exactly how much, but I got a lot of money in the bank to buy fish this year. I got more coming in. I got a call today. So folks want to donate. So
That's fantastic.
yeah.
So the
That's
money
fantastic.
from the Thursday nighters as well goes to stocking.
No,
No.
we used to.
Only the first one wasn't going.
The solstice. Then.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that goes
Yeah.
towards the stocking fund. These here just go, like we had to buy a new set of scales.
Right.
That was, we put $600 in a $550 scale, and then a $50 backup, one of those hanging scales.
Right.
Like
So-
Clint gave us that night.
So I have been told that because I know you hit me up last year about helping. I couldn't last year. I would love to though. By the way, I would do it again.
Well, we want to do it again this fall.
But I was told that if you can get some more aluminum boats that can get to the skinny water, we can get the fish.
That would be great.
I got an aluminum boat.
I'm sure Craig, Chad, whatever his name is down to help.
Absolutely.
But me too as well. I'm sure my brother would be as well. But I could take them. Where you want me to take? I could take them to the train bridge.
You
if
know what I
want.
I tell people, you take them to where you want to take them. I
The
figure
canal.
if they're coming there in their boat on their time,
Yeah.
I'm going to give them, 30, 40 nice bass. You take them to your favorite spot.
How much does it cost? Like, so say you want to buy like 50 bass.
They're about $20 a piece.
$20 a piece. So
And
maybe
that's
we
what
can
else
make
12
a
inches, right? 12 inch fish.
Yeah,
for a 12-inch fish.
yeah. And I haven't gotten the pricing for this year, but with fuel and everything
Yeah.
Right.
and inflation, they're probably
Yeah.
going to be, I wouldn't be
2x4
surprised.
is like $8. It's insane.
Oh, it is insane.
Maybe we can make raise some kind of money and try to even up the ante.
We could, I told him we could do like
I mean,
a
I'll put in my own money.
GoFundMe or raise some money or something like that somehow.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
followers on it,
Yeah.
spread it out there.
I mean,
I think a lot of people would be interested in stuff like that. I'm definitely
got-
interested in taking part in this.
But
So-
also, you can't just go stock fish. Scott has got DNR permission and everything to
Yeah.
Right.
well, yeah, we have the
Yeah.
I've got connections with DNR. I'm on the Black Bass Advisory Committee too.
yeah, Scott.
So
is
I've been
connected.
working hand in hand with them since the big fish kill of 99, 2000.
I remember it. Oh, I
Back
remember
in
it well.
Middle River. Then we had another big one in 2015,
15 late.
Middle
15.
River, and then followed up the following year with the gunpowder fish.
Right.
I
You think
remember that.
those? What do you think caused those fish kills?
Well, I have
That's
my
not a
own
sensitive
thoughts.
question. I'm sorry.
Like I tell people, I'm not a biologist. I'm not a scientist. I'm just an old redneck fisherman that's been fishing down that area. I've lived there all my life.
Right.
And I got my own thoughts. I had, when that fish kill happened in the winter of 99, 2000,
Mm-hmm.
I did some investigating and I left my name and number around a lot of places. And I had some anonymous calls about a certain company
Mm-hmm.
that was discharging into the river down there.
So I grew up on Bear Creek, and they had Bethlehem Steel there, and we had a bunch of fish kills. And they say, now I don't know, this is just speculation, but they say, yeah, factories and stuff like that putting things in the water will cause something like that.
We found a pipe in 2015. I had someone call me and ask to meet me back in Cowpens Creek, which is it's right there. If you know where the lagoon is in Middle River, off to your
definitely
left
know where
is
the
the
lagoon is.
Cowpens runs all the way back,
Right, Martin's Lagoon.
and I met this guy over there, and we hiked along. We had to go under the fence and everything because it's all fenced off and hard to get to. And there he showed me this pipe that sets down about 8 feet from the ground level, right above the water line. And it had big chunks of concrete dropped all around it, so you couldn't
hide
see
it.
it even from the water. There
Right.
was concrete stacked up. But when we went there, the odor was just, it was a putrid odor. And there was this crap dripping out of that pipe. It looked like snot hanging down there.
I heard this story before.
So I got a hold of Maryland Department of the Environment and got them people out there, and samples were taken. Plus I got Blue Water Baltimore involved in it. Plus I took some samples, and the Maryland Bass Nation paid to have them tested.
Really?
And you would have been amazed at the findings coming from this. I won't mention the name. It's a chemical plant on
You said no.
It's got
that's
a
enough.
straight
Yeah.
pipe right from their parking lot.
Oh wow.
There's grates up there.
Mm.
That water drains coming out of their parking lot, and it goes straight to the river.
Mm.
No settlement pond like it's supposed to be. Everything from the parking lot drains directly into the river. And there were, at home I have lists of the chemicals that were found.
Wow.
And let's just say I'm keeping an eye on them.
Good.
I insisted at MDE investigate them. As a matter of fact, when the first kill happened in the year 99, 2000,
And this is still Middle River. in
Middle
99,
River,
2000.
Oh, yeah.
and the same
It was
plant.
the Jews back then.
It was. I mean, Middle River was such a good fishery.
You
There'd be
didn't
an
even fish gunpowder.
80 boat tournament out of Dundee, and 60 of the boats would run to Middle River, and they'd all come back with nice limits.
Dundee was a spot to launch. Dundee
Yeah.
boat ramp used to be like
But
good
anyway.
luck finding a parking spot.
Wow.
That plant was drawn to my attention back then, and so I reached out to the plant, the owner, and I said I'd like to get a tour of your facility. So we set it up a couple of days later, and myself and another member of the Bass Nation went down there, and they set us in a little room. They had like snacks and drinks. They come on in here, and, sit down. We want to show you a slide presentation of what we do here. And the first slide said, "Welcome, members of the Maryland Bass Nation."
Right.
And I'm like, this is going to be a dog and pony show. They're all ready for us.
Right.
And they took me through all the different parts of the plant, us through. And you could have eaten off the floor. It was so clean. Everything was where it should
The
be.
plant is.
They explain that if they have a spill, it goes down in this holding pond and whatnot. And I'm standing there looking. I'm not a land surveyor, but I could see the slope coming from the buildings into the parking lot, and the pond's over here. And I'm like, well, if water's running here, it's just going to go down the parking lot, hit those grates, and right into the river.
Uh-huh.
And I had pictures sent to me from employees and ex-employees of spills. And one of the guys come up with his hand in front of the camera to block.
Oh, wow.
When they were trying to do a cleanup.
Holy crap.
And one of the guys
Wow.
that I interviewed, I took him out to lunch to talk. He didn't want his name given. And I showed him that picture I had on my phone. He goes, "That's me that they're holding their hand up to." He said, "I don't work there anymore, but I was told to get in there and clean up that spill."
Oh, wow. So
Yeah.
hopefully they got it under control and we don't have any more fish kills. Hopefully.
Well, yeah, I mean, I get nervous every time. I live on Hawk Pen Creek off of Middle River.
Yeah, I'm from
And every time I see a dead fish somewhere, I'm nervous.
Well, the
Yeah.
bow fishermen
I feel the same
kill
way.
a lot of fish and throw them back.
Yeah, but
The carp and catfish, you see a lot of
I
dead
think
carp.
there should be
Look at-
something
You
said
see a
about
bunch
that,
of
too.
you see
Sure.
all
That
those
ram's
ones
no
yesterday?
crap.
yeah. But look at what's happening in Back River right now.
No,
You know what I mean?
I don't want
Right
to go to
now.
Back
that's a
River ever.
disgrace.
So, and here's the sad thing is, like, Scott's obviously very involved, and a bunch of us, if we were told how to get involved, we would be.
Right.
What's going to really get done?
How do you clean up Back River though?
It's all
You don't.
politics, man. It's all
Yeah,
there you go.
politics. You gotta
There you
know
go.
somebody. You gotta know somebody
Way-
way up in the government to get a hold of them.
Yep.
Yeah.
That's unfortunately the problem, because Back River now, I don't know. I'm sure back in the day people used to catch bass.
It looks
I know they
juicy.
catch crabs in it,
They're
but
still there.
They catch crap in it.
they
But
do.
believe me, dude, I'm using
Well,
the Back River
you know,
special. It's in Jordan.
I know what that
Shit,
thing
right?
is. I already know. I ain't gonna say it again. You probably kill me.
Many
I
years
know what
ago,
you're talking about.
Maryland had a biologist by the name of Leon Fewlis. Now I'm going back into the 80s and 90s with Leon. There was nobody more versed in the propagation of bass management, bass biology than Leon. And he always felt that Back River could sustain a bass population. As a matter of fact, he put fish into Back River way back. You need to get that hook in your lip. And that'll be something to see.
Well, believe me, our friend from
Will be the first time, Scott.
our friend from UMA Lure Company used us some
Real quick.
nice sharp owner hooks on those things.
Real quick, Chad clicked off the chat, but let me see if I got this. What's up, Martin? What's up, Paul? What's up, Dan? My wife, Maria, love you. Who else? Brian Dyson in the house. Paul Batters. And before I forget, congrats, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah,
Tony slaughtered on
First
yesterday,
place.
dude.
and
Big
bunker
one.
last
Yeah.
night.
That's
Yeah.
because
Big
they've been
fish.
losing everybody.
Big fish
We made it.
and first place, dude.
So
Took everybody's money. I barely had gas to get here. You took all my money, dude.
So, the crazy thing is, and we can get into this after Scott's done saying what he was saying, but the bag I could have had yesterday
I know you
Yeah.
told
would
me.
have been
Everybody
ridiculous.
says that.
I felt
Right, Scott?
You know what's so cool about the Thursday nighters? Christ, if I can even remember, it was like me, Tony,
If I caught all those logs that I
Vince.
missed too.
Tony, Vince, Paul, Brian Dyson, Chad, maybe a couple other people, Greg. We stayed till like 11, 12 o'clock last night just talking fishing afterwards. Dude.
that's the best part about it.
Yeah.
You don't
Great
get that.
fellowship, yeah.
You don't get
I
that. You know
enjoy
what I
that.
mean? You don't get that everywhere. You really
No.
don't.
I look forward to the Thursday nighters.
No,
just,
we're
I mean,
not.
I love fishing, but it's real. I love getting together with all the guys.
Right, I
Sitting there
can't
and
wait for
talking.
It is
Thursday
great.
night. Just
It
see
is.
everybody, hang out,
I
talk
look
about
forward to
fishing.
Thursday every week.
There's
I could
not a
care
lot
less
of-
about the money, to be honest with you.
there's
I
not-
almost forgot about it. Like when we were when you taking the pictures of our fish, I like almost started walking back to the boat. I'm like, wait a minute, I have an envelope. Like I should probably go get that.
Tell them how
It's
much
just-
you won last night.
So we won
What'd you win?
$500.
$500.
500
Oh,
bucks?
yeah, man.
Dude, did you buy the
Can't
beer
say you
tonight?
don't, man. Bring it nice.
So it was
I can tell you what I lost.
it was 300 for lunker. No, sorry, 200 for
300.
lunker and
Right.
300 for first place.
Right.
So pretty good split.
Imagine if you would call Big Snakehead too.
Yeah.
I can't catch a snakehead anywhere I
Well,
go.
just-
right now.
That's all I can
What was
freaking
Big
catch.
Snakehead last night? It was 6.98,
How
right?
many
Because I
boats?
called
How many
7,
boats did we have?
and
last night?
then Paul said 6,
Point.
but it was like
It would have been
definitely
another
closer to
200 bucks,
7.
dude.
Yeah, it would have been.
You would have won $700, dude.
We had one
Man,
hook,
that's
but it
crazy.
wasn't big enough to win.
For a local Thursday night tournament, I gotta say, if you
20
get
boats
the,
is
if you
pretty
get
good.
like
You go
if you
home
get
with-
the 3 for 3,
Yeah.
Oh yeah, 20 boats is
you can
great.
freaking take some
You're
boats. home
going
for
to be
Thursday
walking
night
sideways
tournament,
because your
brother.
pocket's going to be fat.
Yeah.
Ah.
Is that the biggest one that we've had since the solstice so far?
What's
20
that?
20 boats.
20
No,
boats last night.
20
No, we had
Thursday
We
night.
had
The
30,
solstice.
31 for the solstice.
Solstice
Right.
always has
One
the
couldn't
most.
start, so we gave them their entry fee back. So we
Okay.
had 30 boats.
Okay.
But 20 for just a regular Thursday night is a lot of.
Yeah,
That's
that
the
was
most.
good.
Yeah.
That's pretty good.
I don't remember. I don't ever remember. Like last year, I didn't fish a lot of them because my trailer was messed up on the boat. But seeing like 12 to 15
I fished every
was
one last
awesome.
year.
You know what I mean? But 20, that's a lot. Like we
Yeah.
showed up because I didn't know I could fish until about an hour before the tournament. So Chad gets there and he's like, dude, we're about 17. I'm like, 17? And he's like, and there's still people pulling in. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah,
So-
this spot for I'm fishing where you were at tomorrow.
Go ahead.
right
ahead. Go right ahead.
Almost
So, I mean,
called
let's-
out of work today to fish it, dude.
Let's talk about that real quick though. So what was
Yeah.
what was going
what's
on
the juice?
yesterday?
Nothing-
What's the juice?
Nothing special.
Was it
It's
red
nothing-
frog?
it's-
Grass, man.
It's just like it's literally just the grass. Now, well, the reason why I went back there is
There's grass in all
because-
different parts of Gunpowder.
But so I did want to make a point that to your point. So my brother was like, because he's not like a huge bass fisherman. He does a lot of crab and rock fish and everything. And he's like, you said, I say catch them in the grass. But what grass? But here's the thing: if they're in the grass, they're in most of that fish all that grass.
So all grass fish is different.
But still, if they're in
Absolutely.
the grass, you fish around in the grass anywhere you want. Really,
Well,
honestly.
So between
No, you
from
disagree, Greg?
from last
See if I'm right.
from last week to this week, they were in the same grass.
I know where you
but
were.
you couldn't
I'm not
fish
gonna
it the
say
same.
but I know.
So like I've caught them this so far this year in the openings of the grass with the frog, right? Or whatever you want to throw. Yesterday, not the case at all.
Really?
Not the case at all.
On the edges?
No, in the thickest mat you could find.
Really?
Yes. So that just goes to show you, right? Think about this. Like we can, let's say me and Greg go fishing and we
Right.
both throw a frog in the open spots of the grass. We could both not catch a damn thing, but there would be X amount of fish there.
Right.
And like what I'm doing is nothing crazy. Like you guys, I've fished with almost everybody in this room.
It never is. That's
Right.
the thing. You just got
It never
dialed
is.
into something.
Yeah.
It's always
Exactly.
something like, I can't believe
The reason
nobody else
I-
has figured this out.
The reason I went back there,
Most of the
to
time.
be completely truthfully with you, is one, I really didn't have another spot that I wanted to go to, and two, like I've seen the big fish that have come out of there. Like we missed a couple big ones last week. I was like, I know these big fish are here. I just need to catch one of them.
Is there a minimum
So,
age
Is
for
there a
Thursday
minimum
nighters?
age?
Is there what?
Age limit.
No.
Somebody's asking. No age limit, dude.
I like the little thing. Somebody put 15 pounds ain't shit.
That's what, you don't know that story?
Whoever wrote that?
Can I
this
say that
is
story?
A
Hold
3-5
on.
limit.
Hold on, let me.
It's not 5.
I'm gonna tell you a little story. There was 2 people fishing up on the flats,
Yeah, those guys. Who were
and
those guys?
2 other people came by and they said, "Hey, how you doing?" They said, "Oh, we got 15 pounds." And some unknown person that we are not at liberty to say said, "15 pounds ain't shit."
Yeah.
So that's our slogan now, because 15
But
pounds
after
is
that,
shit.
15 pounds
But
ain't shit. Well, first of all,
Apparently,
like-
Victor said that.
so it's like, first of all, I was like, I just laugh because like, it's all love.
It was an
It's all-
insult
It's just,
towards us.
it's just,
50
it's
pounds
just,
ain't shit.
it's just funny to
It's
me.
true.
and,
It's true up there.
That's not true,
No.
dude.
And
50
it is
pounds
not
is a
true.
good thing.
5 fish up there, it ain't shit.
Right.
yeah.
But when you're fishing a 3 fish limit,
Three for
I-
15 pounds.
Even on
I've
the 5.
seen one guy come in with 15. No, 2
Oh, you mean up on? Yeah.
in our club tournaments.
22
We have a
or-
3 fish limit in all of our club
It's
tournaments.
usually over 20.
Dan Thompson come in what, a
I
couple years ago.
had one in the Chesapeake Bass Anglers. His and hers is 16 pounds.
15 pounds is
16
still.
Yeah, that's what we were talking about the his and hers earlier. I said
Yeah,
about how
yeah,
I came in with a
right.
5-pounder, thought I had longer. He comes in with a 6.
That's what Paul and them did to me last year. But 15-pound bag is still.
50
I think
bag
15
is still good. bag.
You called them.
Depends
You
what
called
kind
them
of
up a
time
little
of the
bit.
year and
Right,
what
yeah,
other
yeah,
reasons.
yeah.
But just to tell somebody, if I'm like, hey, Greg, what you got? You're like, about 15 pounds. If I say to you, oh, that ain't shit. I mean, like, come on, dude. Like I mean, what kind of dickhead am I? You know what I'm
You
saying?
stab me in the heart, brother. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, like, I
But
just-
no, dude, it's all love. It's just
I tell
fun.
everybody I ain't got nothing. I call a couple small ones.
yeah. Greg, you've been in the money a lot this year, dude.
Yeah, I have a good
Yeah,
year.
you've been on pretty well. I pay
Mhm.
attention, dude. I pay attention. It's been a
Scott's
struggle
caught-
for me
he's-
this year.
He caught a couple
Yeah,
of key
no,
fish.
well, I mean, as a team, both of y'all, don't get me
Yeah.
wrong. Have you guys been?
I did good at
I
SQT.
think what were you
did
out of the
good
money
SQT.
just one time this year so far?
Yeah.
The
Yeah,
one
I
he
fished
never
last
came in
night.
second.
Yeah, we got
Last
skunked
night.
that night.
We
Right.
got skunked the one night.
But he had a
was
good fish on.
Yeah, a big one.
They weren't in the grass that night.
That would
I
have been
think the
big
rest
for
of the
us.
night I caught one about 10 inches long on a frog. That was our night.
Evan
Yeah.
told Scott, like, should have weighed that temperature in, dude.
You can't. 3 fish, you cannot, and it's a 3-hour tournament, you cannot run around.
Right.
You cannot play around, and you got to land every fish that bites.
Right.
That's it.
And if you
Absolutely.
don't land them,
I lost a good one last
Yeah.
night. Yeah, so I know.
See, how many did you guys hook into last night? How many did you guys catch?
So we
Because Scott
had
got
we had-
second.
so we didn't get
5 keepers.
we didn't get a bite until after 8:00.
Really?
No,
Wow.
hell no.
That's a grind.
Yeah, we were
grinded
late,
it out. It
too.
looked like no hope. And next thing you know,
It was on.
it was
started.
on.
Yeah.
And I missed 2. And I missed a good one. Well, actually, I didn't miss him. He was on, but I lost him.
Mm.
And then I missed maybe 2 more blow-ups, actually. And then we had 2 other blow-ups, or 2 that we weighed in. That was it. But that was in the last freaking 20. We were going down to the last minute. We made it to the boat ramp 1 minute before we had to be back. We kept saying, one more cast. Because they were just,
I
we
almost fell
almost
into that
stayed out
trap.
and just fished.
So
just waiting
they-
for that one bit
right,
to take
yeah,
it just
dude.
to get back there.
So I almost fell into that trap, and I gotta give a lot of credit here to my partner Chad, who I've been fishing these Thursday nighters with,
Yeah.
because he is like he's definitely like the extinguisher to my fire, because I get into it and I start really, and he's like, hey, we got to start doing this, and I'm like,
Right.
yep, you're absolutely right, we got to start. And like yesterday is a perfect example. I
Whatever
was
you
ready to
did
stay out
yesterday.
there. Like I was ready to stay out because I was convinced I ain't got enough weight. I need one more
I
call.
don't know. You slaughtered it.
Like,
dude.
we caught probably 10 keepers.
Yeah, no,
Like,
you were on
and
fire.
some of them we just didn't even look to put them back. I mean, we were.
Were you, so without giving up too much juice, were you dialed in enough like you knew when you cast it to a certain spot
Yes.
that you would probably get a bite there?
Towards the end,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah, at the end, yeah.
You said,
At
no,
the end,
I
yes.
don't want it.
Now,
Yeah.
once we kind of figured out where or what in relation to the grass, where they were, then it was on.
Right.
You know what I mean? But
Yeah.
we did. I mean, we probably had our limit by 6:30. I would
Oh,
say,
wow.
Wow.
which wasn't
6:30, I have a bite.
which wasn't.
I wanted to jump
Now
off the boat and kill myself.
I got rid of. Put it this way: we got rid of every fish except the big one twice
Oh,
between
wow.
6:30 and the end. So we
So
called.
you
We made
called
4
a bunch
calls.
of times. Oh,
Yes,
wow.
we did.
That's
And a lot of
good.
those came at the end. But and that kind of gets what I was wanted to say is we were actually going to leave that spot, and my buddy was like, Chad's like, man, I don't know, like I know they got that spot on the other end where there's right out of that channel where there's
Go
good
by the
grass.
duck line.
Yeah, and I'm
Yeah.
like, because we caught them there in 3 or
yeah.
4 tournaments ago,
Yeah.
and I'm like,
It's a
dude,
great spot.
I'm like, I can't leave
Duck
this.
line.
Like they're eating here, we know that they're here. Like, don't leave them to find them. And he's like, all right, let's stick it out. And we ended up calling all everything we had. Except
So
the
you
big one.
definitely made the right decisions, dude. You
Right.
murdered it yesterday, dude.
So, but yeah, towards the end, it was pretty funny. I kind of feel I hope Paul's still on.
He
But,
is. Paul said I had 5 more minutes to fish.
I kind of felt a little bad for Paul because Paul left to go somewhere else, and it was wide open. For a while there, I was the only boat that I could really see in the grass, so I started moving over towards where Paul had started, just because the week prior I had gone the other way. So I decided, well, I'll go this way this time because I did a little bit over there. I want to catch a big one, see if there's some over here. And by the time Paul had got back over, we were ended up probably 100 yards from each other. And it was, obviously nothing.
We were a little
Right.
farther inward. Than
So
y'all.
right about where Paul started his day is where I kind of ended up, and he was a little bit further in, and that's where we caught like 5 or 6, like in the last 10 minutes.
Oh, now I definitely know where.
Well, there's-
tomorrow.
Like I felt bad. I was like, damn.
I know exactly where all you guys are at, and I know exactly what's going on.
It's not hard.
There's
Gunpowder fish
openings.
is small.
There's 5 openings that come in the Gunpowder River.
Right.
5 openings.
And that's really what
it
it
could
is.
be 2 inches difference in depth
Right.
in that area, like where you guys were sitting in the center.
Mhm.
Years ago, that used to be a good channel right there, and it used to flow out through there.
Well, it's still
The
there.
grass used to-
It's still there,
not
but
like
it's
it used to be.
it's very shallow now.
Yeah,
Because I tried to get in
not
there
as
today.
deep as it used to be.
But there's areas in that whole grass bed where they'll concentrate,
Mm-hmm.
and I look for the cleanest water and current.
Yeah.
And if it ain't there, that's why the muddy tournament, me and him, I said, we got to do something else. I'm not fishing that mud.
They all been muddy tournaments
And we
lately.
went and found clear water.
No, it was really
I like-
muddy.
I like
I
that.
know the one
Yesterday,
when,
Greg,
when
I'll
you
be
told
honest
me
with
we
you, the opposite.
found when you guys were in the money, and I said, "Hey, where'd you fit? How'd you catch them today? It was a grind." You was
Well,
like, "You found clear
we
water."
ran totally out of the gunpowder.
Yeah, you were. There was a monument in the picture that you posted.
Well,
we all know.
We didn't catch
That
any
won't
fish
be there
before
much
that.
longer.
The monument.
It's being taken
We already
down.
had a limit. We had a limit in 20 minutes, so we went looking for a big one.
Seriously, though, Scott?
That's coming down in August.
Yes.
Really?
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah, it
I
is.
did not know that.
You know how many old guys are going to get lost on the bay with that comes? Like,
got
well, they
look for
got
them
GPS
towers,
now.
dude.
Yeah.
But I saw the picture, like, well, you know where they were at.
I grew
I
up.
used to be the Jews, dude.
I grew up
used to
looking
be-
at that stuff running all around saltpeter and stuff.
They cooled their engines
Yeah.
in the
Yeah,
water.
well, they haven't run for 4 years. That's been shut
Really?
down.
It used to be a district.
You used to be able to go down the
Water
bridge.
discharge, yeah.
You used to be able to just fish off the bridge down
Yeah.
there, like back, like way when I
A
was
lot
a teenager.
A lot of
And
the
I could
older.
drive. I could go down there to the bridge, ride my bicycle or whatever down there,
Yeah.
and I could fish down
I did
there.
the same thing when I was. I rode
Yeah,
my bike
me
down
too.
there.
I
I'm
did
gonna
the
try
same
something
It was
over
a
there.
long
I'm
ride
trying
for me.
something over there
I used to
next
live
couple
in the
weeks.
town and
Right.
country apartments when I was a teenager, right by there. Like I grew up on Bear Creek, and then we moved out onto Galloway Creek for a little while. Then we moved over there, and I would ride my bicycle down the railroad track and all that too. Yeah, I've been. Yeah.
So
I've
my shore house is, you know where Beach Drive is?
Mhm.
If you're going, that's where my place is right
all
there.
right.
Right on the little cut, right past the power plant.
Hey, Patrick's on. What's up, Patrick? His name's not Patrick. It's Kevin. I just call him Patrick.
I see Kevin's watching. That's cool. Thanks for watching, Kevin.
So, but anyway, I guess the last thing I'd like to say about the tournament last night before I move on is it's honestly pretty humbling to win with the talent that's out there. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah.
And
yeah.
last night being 20 boats, like I thought that was pretty cool because you got Duarte there,
You
I
had
mean,
some
Scott
hammers.
and Chris,
Had some
who
hammers.
were right on our
Robin
tail.
Evan was there. What the
You-
hell,
right.
dude?
You- like there are so many
Frank
people that
Arthur?
fish. There's-
Yeah, Frank Arthur was there.
and
Yeah.
right, like
Rob
there's
Vincent
Vince's Crab House.
There's some serious sticks in these Thursday
Right.
nighters.
And
There's
that's-
Greg
some
Hall.
talent out
And
there.
that's-
Greg
I
Hall.
wouldn't fish.
and
Oh,
that's
you
the
didn't fish. That's right. I keep forgetting that.
If
It's
he'd
so
have fished-
rare. It's so rare
If
that
he'd
Greg
have
didn't
fished, the
fish.
guys that would take second.
probably.
You're lucky, man.
But that's,
Oh, Greg talking big shit.
but that's the coolest thing is, you know what I mean? Like
You know we gotta.
there's talent and there's a little bit of a draw for these Thursday nighters when you got guys like, you know, Mike coming down and Mr.
Paul
Frank.
said Tommy Turner.
So yeah, I mean
Turner
it's
was out
awesome. You know,
I can't remember.
Patrick in the house. Marie, what's up? What was on?
There were some hammers. There were some
Oh, there was
hammers
some
last
hammers.
night.
So we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier before we came on live, but Greg had a lot to say, and I know the comments are going to start going crazy because we
Uh-oh.
have got to talk about these Bass Opens because there is a lot of buzz going around right now with these
Chester
Bass
County
Opens.
opens?
No, the Bassmaster Opens.
Oh, the Bassmaster.
Last
Opens.
night
So,
would make you
Are you
leave
fishing them?
No.
It's like, what is it, like
I
$1,600?
suck. I can't compete
Is
with them.
Duarte
So-
is Duarte
Yeah,
go
yeah.
fishing?
Okay, so we'll get into
Duarte's
that.
fishing.
We're
Right.
gonna get into that, and that'll be part of
What's up,
my
Rob?
argument, right? So, for those of you guys that aren't aware, the Bassmaster Opens, and Greg, please fill in the blanks because I know you're way more well versed on this than me. But the Bassmaster Opens is kind of like the gateway of getting in the Classic and the Elite
And the
Series.
Elites.
And there's been various different ways of how you can
gotta
qualify.
be a serious freaking hammer.
Now, it used to be if you won the tournament, you got the Elite Series, right? If you won one Bassmaster Open,
You gotta fish the region.
the
There's
region.
3 of them.
Okay.
Yeah.
So now the way it is, there's 9 tournaments, okay, and they go the kind of Midwest region and a lot of the East
It's
Coast.
Central,
There's-
Southern, and Eastern.
Well, not anymore.
Southern, Central, and Eastern.
Well, not
Yeah, Southern,
is it,
Central,
are
and
there
Eastern.
still 3 divisions
Yes.
or no?
It's 3 divisions.
So
Yeah,
there's
3
still 3 divisions. Okay.
What's up, Luis?
So
nine tournaments, 3 tournaments.
you,
each
in
week.
order to qualify for the Elite Series, you must fish every single tournament. You must.
This next year.
In the
Starting next
division.
year.
Starting
No,
next year.
Well, you
all
have to-
9.
And
All
it's
9.
across
All
the country.
9
It's not just
Wow.
like on the East Coast or something.
Right.
Like it's east to west.
So let's say the first 3 tournaments, you're an absolute stick and you win the first 3, right? Previously, you probably got your ticket right there.
The top 3 from
Am I-
each
am I right,
division.
Greg?
Top
Yeah.
3 from each division. Paul just said it.
So now
Yeah.
you have to fish all 9.
You have
You
to.
must. You
Wow.
must fish all 9, and you must do well enough in all 9 to make the Elite Series, right? So
That's a lot.
there's
of
kind of 2 arguments on this, and then I'll open it up because I know Greg is, like I said, much more well versed than me. And the 2 arguments are this: the first one is if you want to fish the Elite Series, right, and you want to be that caliber of angler, you have to be ready for the entry fees, the travel, and what it takes to fish those 9 tournaments all over the damn place, right? So I get that. I get that argument. The argument against it is, and I'll use their slogan because I'll be that guy, right? Big bass, big stage, big dreams.
dreams.
You just took big dreams right out of it because guys like us
They
all
have
sitting
big
here,
money.
that I would argue that any single one of us can go to the Upper Bay and win a Bassmaster Open because we know the place, and you know how it is. You get on a school of big fish on the bay, it's grass, right?
You got to
It-
get by the
Right.
Centaur and people like that.
Sure,
You know?
but-
You got to get by them guys.
but it can happen.
What's he catch?
Right?
Like 20-some pounds every time he goes
them
out there?
guys,
'Cause
them
his
guys
name
are in
is like,
another league.
yeah,
All
his
guys.
name is like the
Like Centaur.
Upper Bay. Yeah, Centaur. Upper
He won the
Bay
Open last year.
So like,
King.
but here's the thing, right? It can happen.
You should go to
I would.
You got 36 grand. to
You
fish
go out
on
and catch
the break
22
from-
pounds.
There's guys in Team Outcast that have gotten top 5s in Bassmaster Opens before that I fish against 10 tournaments a year. Like it's happened. Like that's the and
Yeah,
like
so
Greg said,
Rob
there
said
are
it'd be
guys.
30 grand just
Yes.
to fish the 9 tournaments.
36,000.
36.
You can also go, there's other ways of getting the leads too.
Sure. Through the nation
You
and
go
all that
opens,
stuff.
you go through the nation, like
Right.
I'm
Oh yeah,
trying to do.
yeah.
I'm
Like Brandon
I'm
Polinick got him
trying
like
to
that.
do.
Right?
Yeah, but that's the hardest way to get in because it's like, dude,
There's 4
One out of-
spots.
1 out of
The Bass
40 grand.
Nation.
Right. Oh, it's
1 out of
crazy.
40,000 people make it and win the whole thing.
So I guess the argument that and kind of where I draw the line with this is, let's say like we'll pick Mike because I like Mike and I don't think you would have a problem with me talking about him on the show because Mike's a very good fisherman, right? And let's all just for the sake of the argument that Mike is good enough to fish with the Elite Series, right?
I would say yes.
How guys like that? How do you afford? And I talked to him last night, and I was joking with him, like, "You gonna fish all 9?" He's like, "I'd be broke."
Right.
So you just took the wind out of a young guy who may really fairly be that good.
You gotta have some sponsors, I guess, pay your entry fees,
That's it.
right? And
Yeah,
then you still
sure.
got the travel and the rooming, and then
But-
you got your at-home
Right.
bills.
So
you
then-
still got mortgage that's
but-
got to be
but-
paid and everything.
But my point that I'm getting at is that at that point, it's no longer about fishing. It's about what connections you have. Yeah, you still got to be good, but it's about who you have willing in your corner to fund you. It's way easier.
That's a good point.
Even if you have 50% of your open expenses, gas, hotels, entry fees paid for, versus somebody who is really that good, but maybe has an older boat or has an older truck, and every tournament is, damn, I hope I get to the St. Lawrence River this weekend, 16-hour drive coming from North Carolina, and my shit doesn't break down. You know what I mean? And so for that aspect, in my opinion, I think it's a bad move. But I know there's a legitimate argument on both sides. So I want to hear it because I know Greg's
the
got
other
to say
side
on this.
So
I want to hear Greg's point because I know Greg has a very good point.
Okay.
Open it up, Greg. Let's hear it.
Paul's into it just like me. He follows it and everything. Okay. They did this because most of the guys that want to get an Elite Series are already fishing all 9. They've been fishing all 9 for years and years and years.
Right.
And they call it Opens Purgatory for a reason. Because
It makes sense.
you go in to these tournaments, you got a ton of local sticks that you got to compete against. And you got to win that tournament and get them points because all them local sticks. You got pros, elite pros that come in and jump in on the tournaments, and you're fishing against them, and you're fishing against 220 people.
Right.
They're like the hardest things to win
Yeah.
and to get back in. And if you can get through all that and you can win, you're good. You're good enough to be and fish the Elite Series.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay.
Elite Series
The Elite
might even be
Series
a
is the
little
Elite
easier.
Series. I don't care about MOF or none of that other stuff. They all left, and
It's
all
still
the
the Elite
guys,
Series.
Wheeler and all them, okay. But half them guys couldn't even qualify for Elite Series if they come in because they got such an obstacle to climb
to get back
to
in.
get and win the Opens and then points to
Right.
get back into Elite Series,
Right.
and not using Legends exemptions like
Right.
Angler of the Year,
Right.
Now,
Classic wins.
Let me ask
I
you a
think you already had that,
small
have
side
they?
question right now because everybody left within the last 3 years when MLF got
Yeah,
big
well, he
and
tried
all
to
that stuff.
bankrupt that. That's why
They sure
Okay,
did.
so do you think that this is part of a strategy of Bass Nation and the Elite Series to say, look, if you
Keep
leave,
them out.
you're gone pretty much unless because here's what's going to take to get
Brandon
back in.
Powell
Because so many
I-
guys left and then came back and now
how
they're
many
making the change.
how many come back?
Brandon
Okay.
Pollinet.
Mike came back.
Swindle.
Wait a
right?
minute, hold on, we'll go down the list. First, it was Brandon Pollinet and
Well,
Swindle.
those two were still under contract with MLF. They had to pay $60,000
Right, to get out
to get
of
out of their
MLF.
contract to come back.
Then you
because they
had
couldn't stand it.
Prosnick came back. Greg Hackney
He
came
qualified
back.
through Opens.
Hackney
Hackney qualified through
Jason
Opens.
Christie.
Jason Christie qualified through Opens.
Am I missing anyone?
Mike Ganelli qualified
Yeah, he did.
through the Opens when Mike Ganelli could have walked back in.
Only
He
James
could
he
have
Reed.
walked in on the
could
Legends
use the
exemption,
exemption.
but he didn't want to do it that way. He wanted to earn his spot.
And like this guy,
I can respect that.
how good are they? Like Christie,
So
just to
They're
fish
the best
the
in the
opens,
world.
right? Just
So
to fish the opens and
I
get
have
right
something
back
on
in
that.
like that.
I have something on
Like,
that. And,
against everyone.
I got a point on that,
Yeah.
and we touched on it in one of the episodes a while ago. And I'm not taking anything away from the guys. I won't because they're far better than I'll ever be at bass fishing, like bar none. However,
I think Rob's right.
there are lots
Yeah,
of
Poche.
guys.
Keith Poche.
If you have,
Keith Poche is the shit.
Yes.
just for the record.
let's say there's an Elite Series on the Potomac. I promise you, if you spend enough time on the Potomac the month prior, you'll see pros riding co-angler with some of the best local sticks around.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Sure. Are they really that good of anglers?
You
Absolutely.
know,
Do they solicit information? Hell yes.
You know David
Hell
Dudley.
yes.
You know David Dudley got kicked out of the elites for that.
Really?
Oh
I didn't know that.
David Dudley got banned from the elites for getting information out of tackle shop.
Really?
Oh yeah.
Well,
Yeah.
there's all kinds of stuff.
Yeah,
But how do you stop it? You know what I mean? You
Rumors
can't.
had it Kevin Van Dam would pay for waypoints and stuff like that, and all that stuff. It's just, there's a lot going into it. Like Dave Waller, everybody knows Dave Waller is one of the best
Yes.
guys on the bay, dude. Scott Martin comes and calls him all the time. And,
Really?
he took Scott Martin out. He knows all the local guys, the pros that come local.
Of
They know
course.
he's the stick. They know.
Yeah, they know who to ask, where to go.
But you still got to fish. You can be the best person on the Potomac, like Brian Schmidt.
Right.
He's one of the best on the Potomac.
He retired now, though, right?
Look at
Dave
Rob.
Waller's team tournament.
Look at Rob's comment.
Yeah.
Rob Steiner comments. He took out 2 elites the first time they were there.
Yeah, they were
Oh,
calling.
wow.
They were calling me to show them around down here. You had one
I
guy,
got a call too and showed a guy around.
and it's like
Wow.
Center
you can be the best. You can be the best local stick in the world, but you can also know too much.
Right.
Sure.
You know too much,
Sure.
and I'll spin you
Absolutely.
out all the
Yeah.
time.
Absolutely.
You know?
Absolutely.
That's my brain. I'm just here, it's there.
You know,
I'm
it's a
thinking
lot
too
to it,
hard,
man.
not thinking enough. I can't.
I mean, like I'm gonna be honest with you.
Constant
There's the Open coming in September. A couple guys I fished with in college, or against in college that I'm tight with. They're like, hey man, like when we going out?
Right.
I have no problem taking them out because that's a little bit different in my opinion. But the information aspect of getting information seems like it's kind of not really talked
They're
about.
not allowed to get information for like a
Exactly.
year.
Until when?
For
Because
like a year.
'cause
They
every-
can't solicit no information.
sure.
I'm
not disagreeing with you.
again.
I'm not
Well,
disagreeing with you.
You see what I'm saying? They can look.
Right.
Internet,
So-
they constantly look at tournament results and everything. They know what's going on.
Not-
Google Earth, everything.
Not
You
so
know.
much this year, but when I was really hammering them, like every week putting out a video and just smashing them on gunpowder, people would hit me up when they had a tournament. People I don't even know.
Yeah.
Hey, where they at on the gunpowder? Where are you catching them at? Like all the
Yeah.
time. I got a derby there this weekend and like
They
all that.
study.
I got that
YouTube,
all the time.
They study YouTube
Yeah.
tournaments. Bro, I knew Rob. I said, all of a sudden, you'll see this video come up. Rob, I said, I'm looking. That's a pond canal.
Yeah. I got a
Oh,
bunch.
I did it.
I got a bunch. I got in a bunch
Now
of
I'm watching up
trouble.
the river. That's up the river towards Route 40.
Yeah.
I'm looking.
I
I'm constantly looking.
I got in
Oh,
a
yeah,
bunch
I've
of
seen
trouble.
you down
I
there.
got in a bunch of trouble from a bunch of people.
said,
They're all
dude.
cool now, but
I said,
at
dude,
first they
stop,
were like,
man.
yeah,
I'm looking
yeah.
at videos.
I got a lot of that. Like, hey, man, dude, I'm like, these are not fucking secrets. Come on, man. Like everybody knows.
Well,
I feel like nothing's a secret there.
I'll tell them a little Mr. Bass when I won Mr.
I-
Bass in 2015.
I didn't put out the.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
I won that
I
out.
already know the
I
pond.
won it out of the pond.
I know.
Okay, the pond was a huge secret to most people. The only person
Back
I ever
then.
told was this man.
Right. Back
We
then,
went back
not
there.
now.
First time I took him back there, what we cost 60 some
Oh, my
fish
God,
in
it was
2 hours,
just
maybe at the
amazing.
opening. 60 some fish, 2,
Yeah.
3 pounders, 4
No
pounders.
matter what you threw.
My best
Wow.
5 would have been over 30 plus pounds. one
Even
night.
Craig could have called him.
Jesus.
That's
I
not
said-
good. Fish
I
back in
saved
pond.
it for 3 or 4 years.
Could have went back.
I
there
learned
and
it.
swim bait.
Summertime, I couldn't go get a bite. I waited till spring and fall. When that fall come, I was loading the boat with big fish, and it was easy, easy fishing. And I just kept it quiet. I only see one other bass boat back here at that time. It was a Ranger with a Honda motor on the back of it, and then a couple little dinghy boats, John boats. That's it, local guys, and that was it. And I kept it close, and I said I qualified for Mr. Bass tournament. I told the guy, my partner, I said when we got ready to go, I said, do not tell nobody where we're going. I said, we're either going to suck, they ain't biting, or we're going to win it. You're going to win it, and I'm going to win it. And went back there. Sure enough, I led both days, and I won. 21 the first day, and 20, almost 23 the second
How-
day. And then everybody like freaked out, man. Is all them guys on them got local sticks. I mean, all them guys were
He had
flipping
that
out.
little-
I come in my
he
raggedy
had that
ass
little
rusty
jet boat at the
caravan
time.
with a 16-foot jet boat
Yeah.
and a raggedy ass caravan.
Hell yeah.
Come on, my shit there. And I had a big bass boat before that, but I was fishing out of that.
Screw that. I like
But,
that better, dude.
You know, they had to go, man, you got to follow this guy, man, Al
Did-
Florell
so
and
then-
everything. You got to follow this guy. This guy kicked our ass. You got to find out what's going on. And after that, the Google Earth and all that, it was done. It was done.
Well, everybody
you
knows.
know how it is
The Elite
now.
Series, where
Everybody
that,
knows about the
that
pond.
following spring. The Elite Series came. Davey Height was sitting right on
Right, on
in
the hump,
pond,
on the
on the hump in
On
the
the
back,
humps. Yeah.
and all them guys. Man, they're posting pictures of practice and everything. I looked at all the pictures. They're on the pond canal, everything like that.
Right, ain't hard to
And
figure
most of the players were top 10 were down south.
out.
They were
Yeah.
down to Gum Middle River.
Well, Bush was a player in that
River.
tournament
Hey,
too.
Scott, how
Russ Lane was in
surprised?
Otter Creek.
Yep.
Mark Menendez was Church Creek on the other side.
Yeah.
And all the players, most
Swan
were
Creek,
Church
Church
Church Creek in the bush.
So-
Gotcha.
How surprised was you, Scott, that it was one on Middle River?
Everybody was
Everybody said it was going to be on Upper Bay.
I was not really surprised.
No?
The pro that had called me out of the clear blue, I'm coming home.
Was
from
it Aaron Martin's?
I don't want to say his
Okay,
name because I don't
alright.
want somebody to try and get him in trouble.
It's okay.
He still
okay.
fishes it.
Oh,
And
okay,
He's,
so it's
he's
not
very
Aaron Martin's.
successful. But no, it was not Aaron.
Right.
I'm coming up from Eastern Shore and my phone rings. I hit, I got the Bluetooth and all. Hello. Hey, Scott. And he says his name. And I'm like, who the hell is this? And, he said his first and last name. And I heard it, but I didn't place it. I wasn't thinking about getting a call. He goes, I hear you're the man to show me around Middle River. And I said, well, I lived there. I fished there almost all my life. I said, he goes, any chance you could meet me up there and show me around?
Oh, wow.
So I met him at the ramp a couple of days later when it was still okay to practice and all. And I showed him. I showed him the Baltimore Yacht Club. I showed him Bowie's Quarters condo. I told him that a few years ago, there was a 25-pound bag came out of there. I said, the biggest fish I ever caught in Middle River, I caught in there. And then he's making notes and whatnot. Really didn't do much fishing. He wanted to see the quarry. He heard about the quarry.
Really?
Me to take him there.
On the GP.
So we went all the way around and up to Gunpowder and took him back and showed him the quarry. And that was before it was really silted in like it is now.
It used
so
to go
sad.
through. Yeah.
And then come the tournament dates, he didn't go to Middle River. And I walked up to him, when Aaron had done so good. And then I saw him after the 6th day because I was a camera boat.
So it wasn't Carl.
I was
Johnson.
right there when Aaron caught that 7-pounder.
I figure out who it was.
And as a matter of fact, people still call me and say, hey, I saw you stand on your boat holding a Rural Farms coffee. You're still in
I gotta watch it again now. Now I gotta watch it again just
That's
to look
awesome.
for Scott, dude.
That's awesome.
I'm gonna cut that clip out, put it in one of my videos. Like, look at Scott.
I asked him, I said, well, why did you run the Middle River if you wanted me to sit around? He goes, I should have. He said, somebody gave me some information on the Susquehanna, and I didn't do shit. So,
Did anybody notice during that episode of Bassmasters that Aaron Martins was like on the last day when he wasn't getting bit at first? He was like, oh, maybe I should just fish the stupid flats like everybody else.
Yeah.
Swear to God, he says that.
Dude,
all
it's
the time.
hard.
That's what he says. Maybe I should have went to the stupid flats.
Dude,
like
it's
everybody
hard
else.
to fish up there. Like, I fish up there just as much as I fish Joppatown, honestly. And I'm
Middle
telling you,
River or
the
Oh,
flats.
oh,
Because
yeah.
I have a lot of club tournaments up there. So, like, it's hard, man, because
Paul put me on some juice
Those-
up there, dude.
there's nothing for those. I mean, there's some things, but for the most part, it's just damn grass. Like, and this time of year, there's grass everywhere. It
All
is so
grass
hard.
fishes differently.
It's so, like, you got to think,
Paul
right?
said he told everyone. I don't know.
You
Okay,
gotta know
look,
where the,
look.
you know where they got to know where the shad troughs are.
Sure.
That's where you got.
Look, I grew up on a small farm. We had a huge paddock, about 2 acres, with horses and all that nonsense, right? Well, they don't just stand under the same tree all day, every day. They walk around, they move around. You think fish just sit on the same grass?
No,
No, they move. Like, how far they move, I don't know. How far the horses move, not far, because there's a fence. If there wasn't a fence, they would have been in the next county.
dude,
You know what I mean? So, like,
I have a pond, and in my
in
pond,
Joppatown.
no, at my house, at my house, I have a pond, and I swear to God, I can tell if they're going to be biting or not by what the fish are doing in my pond. Some days they go on the deep side, I don't see them. Other days they're like, as soon as I throw the food in there,
Steiner's right.
yeah.
Way
So
more
it's
to
like
it than
you
grass.
kind of get a little feel for like it's just I don't know what it is. Full moon,
Well,
high tide, low tide.
I
whatever.
didn't get into bass fishing. I was a bay fisherman up until the early 90s. And I bought my first bass boat in 92. And I started bass fishing. And a guy who was very knowledgeable said something to me that I never forgot.
It's
he
just
says,
grass.
what do you like to do on a day when it's really hot and muggy? I said, just relax in the shade somewhere.
Bill Dan
he
said
said-
that.
He said, bass are the same way. He said, when that water temperature gets up high and that bright sun, he says, they're going to be in the shade somewhere deep.
Yeah. Bill Dan said if it's bluebird skies and a sunny day, that's a good day for a picnic. Not a good day to go fishing. Take your wife on a picnic.
Yeah.
That's why Tony said
You want a
all
little-
the lights come on
Little,
thick
little
mats and
wind.
Yep.
stuff. That sun was beating at 90 degrees all day.
Yep.
And then bass were shoved up under the thick mats where
Yep.
it was cooler.
Exactly.
Out of the
And
sunlight.
it's eelgrass.
So
There's
they
only
were-
so
they-
many. There's only so many thick mats.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
They were on
Like-
their heavy grass.
Right. But
Interesting.
again, there's only so many thick.
Usually in the
mats.
pockets though, still.
And I'm
You
a.
can target bait easier, I would think, in the pockets.
I ain't gonna pretend like me and Chad are on some crazy thing. We got lucky. We got the big bite that I knew I needed, and we filled the limit with decent fish. That's all
Everything
it
just
is.
happens to click when you win. It just all clicks.
You know-
I dialed in. Like,
Dude,
yeah,
we
you know
neither
you
of
can't
us-
do wrong.
We did
You
plenty
know.
of wrong. We didn't fish clean yesterday at all.
But you know what I'm saying? Like it just seems to work out and happen.
Sure.
There's a lot of luck in this.
Right, that's
Let's
what I
face
mean.
it.
When it's
Yeah.
your time, it's your time. Things click, and you're like,
So
like I'm sure you probably could have if
It's
it was
controlled luck.
a 5-fish derby, and we had all day,
Mhm.
we probably caught way more. You probably right now were telling me like, oh, I could have came in with a 20-pound bag.
I don't know about 20, but I can tell you right now, it would have been tough to beat in the
Right.
gunpowder. Somebody could have
Right.
went up north and beat it.
No,
But-
I'm just talking in the same situation, but just you had more time.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So I want to go to the next topic real quick because we've covered a lot so far. So I shared on Facebook and we had a couple comments on it, and I wanted to talk about it today. You know where I'm going. We talked about Ike and Ellie already. Now I can't remember what lake they were on, but there was basically long story short, there was an Elite Series tournament, right? And Ike and Ellie comes into way, and I guess he didn't catch him because he was kind of red hot, a little frustrated, right? And he goes, "Look, I've never seen so many bass boats out there with 3 guys. Stay off the lake. This is our time."
That's bullshit.
So my opinion on it, and I know Greg's going to say what and the comments are going to go wild, right? But my opinion on it is, and this is just how I see it. All of us here, except for Scott, because he's retired. Congratulations, by the way. Work full time, dude. Right? Like we all work full time. Like I'm on annual training orders. I don't have a day off in the next, 2 weeks. Right? Like some of us only have 1 day a week to fish, maybe. So if I have 1 day a week to fish and I live 5 minutes from Lake Fork, I'm going to go to Lake Fork.
Okay.
I don't give a shit who's there. Now, I'm not going to jump their spots.
Of course.
If I see somebody is fishing in this spot, no, I'm not going to fish it. However, I'm not staying off the whole lake, whatever, river, whatever. Now, that being said, I will also tell you, I'm the type of person who, if there's a Chester County Open or if there's a BFL out of the flats, I'm not fishing the flats. I'm either going to Gunpowder or I'm going up Conowinga.
So
And that's not because I don't want to mess with the fish. That's because I don't like dealing with the crowd.
That's my
Right.
thoughts.
yeah.
It's not because I
Right.
feel bad about going fishing the flats because these guys have a tournament.
That's how I
If
feel.
they're that good, you catch them. Like
Well.
my thought process is, I don't want to deal with the crowd. I don't want to get in anybody's way. It's not about the fish. It's about not getting in their way, which is kind of a little
Right.
different. But
You
I
may
want to
not,
open it up to that because that's a topic.
you may not believe this.
I know Greg is that.
But-
I can see
No,
it.
yeah, I know he is. But you may not believe this, but there are actually people that do not follow the tournaments and have no idea.
Yeah,
they're just out
absolutely.
fishing.
Yeah,
sure.
And they have no idea
That's different.
that this guy's in the tournament.
That's different.
Whatever, they're just out there fishing. Maybe even took like their daughter fishing or something like that. Whatever, but they have no idea. So it's like,
But let me ask you,
and we don't own the water.
and I'll go.
The
I'll go-
jet skiers and the kayakers and all we have to deal with.
Well, let me
It's
ask you
just-
this,
it's what it
right?
is.
And we'll get to Greg's point right after your answer. But you get in the chair. All right. So Bass Nation, either Last Chance or SQT out of Dundee.
Right.
Are you fishing Gunpowder that day? Do you give a shit, or are you not fishing that day?
So if there's a derby, I give way every time.
But are you
the
still
guys in
going to
the
go
derby.
fishing?
Yeah, I'll go fish somewhere else. Like I'll go, like if I like say I'm in the quarry and somebody's like in that back creek fishing it and they're in a derby, I'll go fish the outlet.
Yeah.
Well, I think
That's
we'll,
respect.
Yeah.
right. I think we'll all do that. I think that's kind of not the question. The question I'm really asking is, if you know there's going to be a bunch of guys fishing the tournament in Gunpowder,
Am I
is that
still going
gonna
fishing?
keep- Yes,
No, I'm still going fishing.
you're still going to fish Gunpowder.
Yeah, but I'm just going to stay out their way. Like
Sure.
I will show them respect.
I think
Like,
that's
yeah.
kind of where I'm at with this. Like,
Yeah.
I'm not staying off the lake. However, if I know you're in a
I'm gonna
tournament,
stay home and watch TV, I'm going fishing, dude.
Right.
Like, you know what I mean? Like, yeah, I mean, there's a tournament on every river, every weekend almost. Which reminds me, I think there's a Chester County Open tomorrow.
There is.
That weekend.
Yeah, yeah.
right?
But that's what Tony's saying. If you're a huge fan of the sport, like I am,
Mhm.
okay, you love to see these guys come fish our home water, okay. But there's guys that sit there and watch Bass Live and know exactly where them guys are fishing,
Run out there.
and when they move off of it, they're fishing the shit out of it.
See,
I
I think
can't-
that's wrong.
That's
That's
bullshit.
wrong.
That's like watching football and going out there and dig worms in the middle of the 50-yard line after the game's over, and the next day they got to come play and they got holes in. It's wrong.
My
Right.
whole thing,
I-
But it's ethically wrong. It's not illegal or nothing like that. People do it. People just assholes about it. But also there's people that don't even follow the tournament circuit. Like Santee Cooper, I think it was at. They were fishing. One of the pros on Bass Live was fishing. No, it was Fork. Yeah, they were fishing. The guys were 2 guys. They were talking like, "Hey man, you in a tournament? Yeah, what's your name? I don't know you or whatever." Didn't even know the guys. Didn't even know the pros were there. catches like a 7-pounder right in front of one of the creeks.
Is this what
Yeah.
you're looking for?
I was just about to go over there, you know, but it's
I like Dustin's
so much
comment.
fish.
I'm a truck driver.
Yeah.
Stay the fook off the highway so I can make my living.
Oh yeah, Dustin. So
Well, it's about respect.
here's the thing.
Yeah,
that
I
I
totally
think there's
agree.
there's kind of a middle ground between the
I'm,
two
I'm
arguments.
sure. I'm sure you guys probably feel the same way. But here's the thing with me. Like I know where you fish the other day, but for me to go out there, and try to catch your fish, even if I caught them, like it doesn't make me feel good. I mean, I
you're
caught a
right.
fish, but I didn't figure it out. I didn't find my fish. I didn't figure anything out. I didn't learn anything. I'm just copycatting what you did,
Sure.
just so I can catch a fish. That doesn't work for me. That makes me
Yeah.
probably makes me feel worse than not catching nothing. I want to go out and figure them out for myself, find my own fish, and get on my own juice.
I've had people.
that's
I've had
just-
people in
yeah.
club. I've been in a club a long time. Me and Scott were in the same club, Baltimore Bass Chasers, for years and everything. And I would sometimes I'd take a co-angler out with me. I'd catch them good on one creek or something like that. And if we went back to that place, like a week later, guess what? That co-angler would be with a boater right on my spot.
Right
where I
on
was
your
catching
spot.
fish
How
and
can
stuff
you
that.
see?
And-
That would make
and-
me feel bad.
And we all know who does it.
uh,
We all know who does it. But it's happened to me. I don't know how many
but
times.
you know what I'm saying? Like, do you
Yeah.
really feel like, oh, I'm a great
But I'm
fisherman?
So here's the
because I
thing, right?
saw what Tony was doing, I went and did it. Or I saw where you were 2 weeks ago, and I went out there and I copycat
Well,
what you were
like
doing.
I said,
Are you really a good fisherman at that point?
So here's the thing, right? Like after winning last night, and again, I'm not trying to toot my own horn, but I feel like I need to go find a different spot now.
Because it's going to get burnt up quick.
Well, not only that,
Cold
but
on
it's like
City's going to burn it up, dude.
I want to prove, but like I want to prove to me that it's not just that's the only spot where I can go win one of these tournaments. Like I want to be able to go somewhere completely different, do something completely different,
And
win
still
it,
figure them out.
and still win the
That's
tournament.
my point. And
Exactly.
that's perfect. And that's how I feel. And that's how it is. And if I don't figure them out, I feel better. Copying what someone else did, it doesn't work for me. Figuring them out. If I don't figure them out, I still have the integrity of, I'm trying to do my own thing. I'm not just looking for, hey, what bait were you throwing? Where were you at?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like that just like,
And it doesn't really do anything, right? Like how many
how
times
are you learning? You know what I mean?
Well, let me ask you
Yeah.
this: how many times have you ever been fishing and somebody is gracious enough to tell you where they were, what they were doing, and then you go out and catch them?
Right.
It's happened.
Right, it
Yeah.
happens, but do you really kind of feel? So what makes you feel better? Going out and finding them yourself and getting on something that nobody knows about, like, oh wow, I'm dialed in, or hey, Greg was catching them on the flats on the frog, and I'm gonna go out to the flats this weekend on the frog and
Flats
catch
is
them.
miles
Right.
and miles.
But you know what I'm
Right.
saying? He was on, whatever, he was in a quarry with a
But you know,
freaking spook or whatever, and then go do that. Did you really? Like
we're sitting here
that's
saying
not the
this, but
same kind of
we all
joy.
started bass fishing at some point in our life.
Right.
Nobody steps right into it and
That's
started
true.
in all the spots.
That's true.
I had people helping me.
That
when I got
is
into
true.
it. I'm not saying they gave me exactly where they were catching them, but I had people show me lures. Greg used to come into our club meetings when we were still having regular club meetings. He'd win a tournament. He'd come in and show us the exact baits he was throwing.
Right.
And guys who were new to the sport, they learned. I learned.
I think
You
that's
know,
great.
and
Like, that's
I-
cool as
that's
hell.
why-
Yes.
If
Yeah,
it
I
stays, as long as
Yeah.
it stays within the club. So Team Outcast used to have a winning ways email, and the guys who would win the tournament used to type up, what they did, whatever they wanted to spill. They did. Now we haven't done that since I've been in the club, but I'm told from the older guys that we
Yeah,
used to do the
that
same
club
thing.
probably when I was in that club for a
Right.
couple years too, and it's like them guys are sticks in there, but a lot of them hold this shit close, and
But
they won't tell you
And
nothing.
if that's
But
what
there's
they
a
want to do,
difference.
that's fine. I like to help new people.
I'm the same.
I do too.
Yeah, I feel the same
I
way.
do too. It's not
I'll
like
pick
I
up
won't tell
information.
someone a spot or when I'm throwing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, so you took what they gave you and you made it your own. You have your
Sure.
own thing, your
You
own
still
style.
got to go out and
Right.
practice, find the fish, and
Right.
get them in the boat.
Exactly.
You know?
It doesn't matter if Paul tells me where the pond's at, and he's like, "Hey, it's a topwater bite." You know what I mean? But I still got to go out there and figure out my own.
Look,
you know,
this white
you know what I
chatterbait
mean?
was working this one day, but 3 days later does not mean.
Well,
that
it
white
changes
chatterbait
every
is
day,
working
too.
the
Well,
same-
well,
doesn't mean
catch-
it works
the
all the
same
time.
Catching other people's
You know,
fish is
exactly.
kind
That's
of
a really
hard.
good
to
point.
do.
You ever been in a boat with somebody, fishing with somebody, and they're smoking them on a certain lure?
And you
And
throw the
put
same,
that
can't
same
catch.
lure and
Yes.
you can't catch shit.
All the time.
so-
all the freaking time.
I
Dude,
didn't
that's
even-
like the story of my life.
So I was talking to Travis, Travis Met. So I know you know him. You might know him too,
I know
Scott.
Travis.
Travis is an absolute monster on the back of anybody's boat.
He's
I
a
don't
good
care who it
fisherman.
is. And we were talking about the tournament Thursday, and I was like, yeah, I did it on a frog. He's like, dude, you were like one of the best frog fishermen I know.
Apparently so.
And I'm like,
according to yesterday.
what are you talking about? I'm like, I've only been in this game for like 3-4 years. Like,
Oh.
I don't consider myself good or damn sure not great at anything coming to fishing. And he's like, dude, I've seen like you win. And to be completely honest with you, every tournament I've ever won has been on a frog. Every single one. Now that
Really?
either means that
Really?
I can't fish anything else, or
That's
and
not true. We
Pretty-
smashed some flipping one day.
pretty good on a frog.
You get bigger bites on a frog.
So
Yeah.
You do.
you know,
Bigger fish.
and to Greg's point, Greg made a really good point. Is how many times have you fished with somebody? They throw a certain lure, you throw the same damn thing out and can't get bit. Like guys fish the same lure different
It's
ways.
too fast,
Like,
too slow.
I fish
too
a
fast.
frog like the way I fish a popping frog. I don't know if we and I have ever fished it together, but like I work a popping frog
Slow.
nothing like I fish a pop
Slow.
No, opposite.
Really.
Aggressive as shit. Like I try to move water with that thing.
But
Like,
Frank
that's-
Arthur's on. What's up,
Of
Frank?
the popping frog.
Frank's on. Robert Murphy, what's up? Dustin, what's up? Thanks for joining in. I don't know, dude.
Frank
What
said
I'm
there's
not
super
saying
spots.
like you don't get advice from people and you learn from other people. What I'm saying
You
is
should.
yes, but you still at the end of the day, I still want to take all the information I have and figure my own thing out.
No,
I don't
of
want to know where you were at, where you call them on. That's
Right.
all I'm saying. You know what I mean? You feel much better, and you'll be like, oh, and
So the perfect example of that is two
I was
falls
talking to
ago.
citizen in the
Like
Never mind.
right, like fall of 2020 when those
Get fucking chairs.
so fall of 2020 like
over there.
October to November of 2020 when Conowingo was like outrageous. You remember seeing that when all them guys were catching those bags of beautiful 20 to 23 pound smallmouth
I
up a
believe
Conowingo.
you,
Like
not me.
it was insane, right? I seen those pictures. I'm like, I'm going to learn that place. I don't know anybody that fishes that place, with the exception of maybe Paul, who goes up there and fishes it. And I probably fish it more than he does. I'm up there at least
That's the
once a
place
week.
to learn, though. It's like you can't learn
Exactly.
at all.
Right.
It's too much.
Exactly.
Really?
There's no cut. You fish Conowingo, it's like you fishing cover. I know there's certain spots, but the cover's everywhere.
Right.
There's wood everywhere on the water. There's rocks everywhere.
There's
on the water.
grass.
You know,
like-
the best times I ever had is when it's been windy and I pick a big ass spinnerbait up and troll the motor on high and just burn
Right.
the bank.
Upper.
Yeah,
Above the
Conowingo,
dam.
Conowingo.
But my point is I seen all them pictures of this big smallmouth, and I'm like, I'm going to learn that place.
Right.
And me and Skylar went up there for about a month straight every weekend, and we
That's
did
good.
terrible. We did horrible. It was like, damn it, we got to go to fucking Conowingo today. It's Saturday. Shit. And we went up, and now the last time we went up there, we had a damn good day.
Like
Like
I did on the GP. I went
We-
every
Right
freaking
after we
weekend
had a damn
for
shitty
3
day.
years straight.
exactly. Like, and you just gotta like that desire to just I want to learn this specific spot,
Right.
this specific body of water. And I'm going to put the time in until I figure it out.
That's
No, I
something
agree
to do.
100%.
With Conowingo, you got the low end, the middle, the top end.
Right.
You pick what you want to
Yeah,
fish.
they all
that
fish
day.
different too.
You fish. You like the top end. Go to the top end and learn that.
Right.
You want to fish the midsection, Muddy Creek and down to the power plant. You fish that. You fish the grass flats and stuff like that, or you go down where it's deeper, down the back towards Hopkins, Glen
Mhm.
Cove, and everything. And there's certain areas that catch fish in there all the time, but I like how fish that for.
I think you have different structures in all areas of this too.
Yeah, you're absolutely
You
correct.
know, you have different structure in one area compared to a different
Well,
area.
that's it. Scott was saying that all fish is different
Yeah.
depending on where you go. It's all
And
different.
I break it down just like Greg said, three areas: upper end, the midsection, around the
midsection.
power
And how
plant,
many
and the grass.
Tournaments,
over the
club
other side.
tournaments,
And
like
then
the
the
one out
dam.
at Bunk's Pond, going around the toilet bowl all day.
Yeah.
Fox Pond.
We try to get in there.
That's
and
the
it's so
that's the
shallow.
pond at GP. It's like a fucking. If I go around the circle
I
one
won
freaking
one-
time.
Can't even get in Funks right now.
We
There's
can
a
if we
tree
bring a
there,
chainsaw.
bro. We gotta get a
I want-
chainsaw.
We can if we
I
bring a
carry
chainsaw.
I carry a saw on my boat for that reason.
Really?
But
That's awesome.
I won.
You got a
Fox
chainsaw
He's
Pond.
got a
on the boat?
chainsaw on his boat.
I got a
Big
winch
saw,
on mine.
throwing saw, like a pruning saw. I could carry with me all the time.
I got a winch on my boat.
I went to Funk's Pond, and you know how you get 5 boats in there sometimes.
Yeah.
So
Holy shit.
I was in there with 5 boats, and these guys are throwing little shaky head Ned rigs stuff on the bank, catching little things, right? So I'm sitting there, many guys I ain't catching really nothing, but I'm gonna try something different. I'm sitting out in the center, so I get a big ass spinnerbait out and throw it in the center and start slow rolling it. Boom, 3.5 pounder, another 2 pounder. Tearing them up, seeing them come out from the deep water under the laydowns. This is deep in Funk's
There's
Pond.
laydowns
Coming out,
everywhere.
No, hey,
sucking it
great,
in.
great,
Them guys were freaking out.
great.
Next thing I know, I see all them.
Great. That's enough information, dude.
Anybody can throw a spinnerbait.
Yeah, but slow rolling it over the wood, dude. Like, no. To be
That
fair,
hasn't worked in a couple years.
To be completely fair, though,
it doesn't work anymore, right? That hasn't worked in years, right?
I just
I don't even
think
care. You
back
can't. I don't
in
care.
there.
Well, you
And
can't
the
get in
pond-
Funk's Pond right now unless you bring a chainsaw. So you don't
Yeah,
even get
You
in
get
there.
in there.
And the
We
pond on the gunpowder
I'm telling you, you
closed
can't.
in the spring now. DNR blocks it off. You can't get back. Hey, so you know what? While we got Scott here, what's the deal with the 6 knots back there, dude?
Oh, yes.
Oh,
That's a good
God.
topic.
That
Oh, that's another story.
Yeah, let's hear
Yes,
that
it is.
story because that's.
I took a lot of heat on that too, because I was at a black bass meeting down in Annapolis. This has been probably 10 years ago. And Joe Love came around. He says, hey, submit this guy wants to change and it was only the canal leading back to the quarry.
Quarry canal.
That was the only thing on this petition to make it a 6 mile an hour. Because I've been back there and had guys come by me at 60 miles an
They
hour.
still do.
If
Wait,
they'd
so
have hit
they-
a rock or something or a log,
So it used to not be 6. When
it
was
used to
it?
be wide open.
When was
No,
that
it was like
changed?
2 or 3 years ago.
I've had
Yeah.
jet skis
Really?
blast
Long
past me
ago.
back
For
in the
real?
channels recently.
Yeah,
It's
they
pissing me
put
off.
those 6 knots.
Okay.
So what, like 2
Wow.
years ago, maybe?
No, it's been longer than that.
It was longer than that.
Because when I was a kid, we used to blast through it.
Yeah.
It
So
wasn't that long ago. they
myself
put them
and
on.
almost everybody at this meeting, we signed it to bring it up for review.
Right.
Okay. I went to one of the hearings in Joppatown at the public library, and I testified, and it was only on that, nothing else.
Just 6 knots,
No, I said, give us a speed limit,
like 30 or
35 miles an hour, so we can get up on plane. And that was my testimony. And some guy got up, and I'm not gonna say the name of the guy that
I know who he
started
is.
all this shit.
something. I know where he is.
But they were saying they're looking at a map overhead, like a GPS map, Google Earth type map.
Mm-hmm.
And this one guy on the Waterways Committee says, well, what's the visibility around this bend right here? And I said, I've run in and out there on a plane. I said, I don't run wide open, but I get up, and level off 30, 35 miles an hour.
Oh.
I have no problem with it. Yeah, but I'm looking at this and I can see where if somebody was on a canoe or
There we
something,
go.
somebody could get hurt. So I left it stating that I wanted to see a speed limit.
Yeah.
It's just a reasonable speed limit. And it was only on that one section of the river, just the piece leading back to the quarry.
The flat that you gotta
The flats
throw
and
it.
back.
Yeah.
So the next thing I know, I get
Oh, the
calls,
quarry's now.
hey man, they put up 6 mile an hour signs at every one of the openings back there.
They did. I remember when they
And
did
I'm
it.
like,
Uh,
well, that wasn't even in the hearings.
Oh, so
That
this
was not
before they
part
even
of
did
it.
Oh, wow.
After they ruled to make that 6 mile an hour, nothing was said about any of the other openings. So when that happened, I called Joe Love. He's like the guy that is my go-between for everything in DNR. And nobody could understand why that happened, that they all got that. So Then we were told, and some folks, Chris Hoffman was one, got up a petition to, just like they got a petition to get the 6 mile an hour, to remove it off of these other ones. And I went to more than one hearing and testified that we wanted a 35 mile an hour speed limit, particularly going back to the pond.
Just
because
in
it
case,
was
kind of
all
lower end.
flat.
Right.
We went to the hearing. It was held at the yacht club down the end of Cape May Road. I could literally have walked to it from my house. And there was 12 members or 13 on this committee. Myself, Danny Rodriguez, and some other folks all said how you could go back there on a high tide, but you'd be trapped.
Right.
And
Unless you
I
ran.
saw
We
people
trapped
get
on an
stuck.
aluminum boat back there.
Yeah, on a flat trying to get out. I said, just give us a speed limit and let us come in and out. And there was one guy from Baltimore County that there's a canoe camp or something back in there.
Yes.
And
Right there by the pond.
Never even seen anybody in there,
Never.
by the way.
Never.
Never seen one person
think
at the
one
freaking
time
You
I
never seen
saw
them
a
out
couple.
on their canoes?
I
Their
seen
kayaks?
I seen
But
like
I
2
have.
people on the
He
dock,
wasn't even
not on
there.
the canoes.
He wasn't even at this hearing, but somebody read this letter he wrote about how bass boats come flying in and out when he has kids there.
So wouldn't it be
It's
better if they go
hazardous.
slower if they already
So-
do it?
They took, and prior to this year, I went out and met some DNR or Natural Resource Police. They got in my bass boat, and we went back there. We had to idle at the beginning of the the canal leading to the pond, and we idled all the way back. And the tide was so low, and I'm on my trolling motor this point. I said, guys, I can't even take you back there. I said, look at this. We'll get stuck if I stay on the trolling motor.
It's like
I
foot
said,
and a
all
half
we
deep.
want,
If that.
put a couple buoys up, put them off on the side, and that'll be where we will run and have a speed limit to get in and out.
Right.
So we went, and they agreed. They said, yeah, we got no problem with that. So we went to this hearing. We testified. The vote was 12-1 to give us a speed limit.
Right.
So we come out of there, hallelujah, we won. We got a reasonable speed limit. Well, come to find out, I get a call from DNR that this same guy who wrote this letter somehow got a hold of the head of DNR, Jeannie Hadaway Rico, I think her name is.
Yep.
It used to be Jeannie Hadaway.
Had the ear.
She's the head of DNR. Sent a letter to her office. She overrode the committee,
Wow.
which is like unheard of.
Holy shit.
And so that's why
Wow.
it's still 6 mile an hour. And I tried calling this guy to go meet with him. He refused to meet with us. He didn't come to any hearings. Joe says he won't talk to anybody.
Still blasting that shit.
we still playing through there. We have to. There's no
It's all-
way.
it's all
I'm
Yeah,
straight up
but
saying, I'm not
here's
doing
the
it during the
problem.
tournaments,
If
but
you're
I am
in
running
a
it.
tournament,
Period.
Well,
you must obey all laws.
I
Yes.
never break the 6
And
knots
if
in the
you
tournament.
do that, I
Not
know
in the
you don't.
tournament.
I've seen you come out of there idling. Greg
I
and
seen
played
somebody
back
come
there.
out of there the other day.
Well, if they do that and someone
Like me.
protests them, we have no choice but to DQ them.
Yes, I know. Little Bradley got.
You know?
Hey, did you guys happen to, not to change the subject? Like, I don't know if you guys follow Little
I did
Bradley.
see that.
Called an
Casper,
8-pounder. 8-pounder
down in
Florida.
Headwaters. We were talking
Yeah,
about that.
Oh,
Headwaters.
man, good for
Little
Bradley. Good
Bradley
for
and his dad, Tom, man, congrats. But they got DQ'd for breaking the 6 knot limit. But it's just, I don't know, it's kind of ridiculous. Not the rules that there's fucking 6 knots through there.
Yeah.
I totally
It's hard
agree.
for me on my aluminum boat. I got an aluminum
Yeah,
I
boat
don't
with
think
a jack.
anybody,
Like,
I don't think
it's
anybody
like
disagrees, but
I've never idled. Never.
I think Paul
Never
said
idled
it.
back
Paul
there.
said
You
it to me
can't.
real good one night. He's just like, the only reason that it even bothers me when people do it is just because there's other guys out there that are not going to do, that are just, they're going to do the 6
Well,
miles an
that's
hour.
the
And
rules.
it's an advantage
The rules
for
are the
somebody
rules.
else to go run
That's
Sure,
right.
away.
the rules are the rules. I abide by the rules. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is that they made all that 6 knots back there. So we pay those kayakers and all. They don't
Don't
pay,
pay shit.
Right. We pay our money every year for the DMV for our trailers, the DNR for the stickers on our boat and everything. Kayakers ain't paying nothing
They're paying-
yet.
You're
they
paying tax on gas, even though
Right.
we shouldn't be paying that because that tax is for road maintenance.
Right.
But we still pay the same price for gas.
But we're still looked at like, oh, well, you know what? You got to look out for these kayakers. And like, we're the ones paying all the money and funding everything. And then they don't look out for us. Like Scott said, give us a channel at least. You know, put the movies up. We'll stay in there. Nobody would have a problem with staying.
At that point, you're in a kayak or a canoe and you're in the middle of the freaking channel.
Well, that's what they would do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what they would do.
And we see that down on places like the Pocono. You'll be running up the river, and all of a sudden, here's a bunch of canoes out in the middle of the damn river.
That shit burns me up, dude.
Or like the chop tank. I ran into that.
I got a tournament partner that will run them over.
I was sitting there trying to fish last year, and he had some kayak festival. I'm sitting there fishing.
Kayak festival.
I'm sitting there fishing, and here comes all these kayaks. I'm fishing, and I mean they're right next to my boat. And so this big girl falls out her kayak right next to my boat.
dude.
And I said, she comes swimming over. Can I get in your boat to get back in my kayak? I said, I guess so. And then one of them in the current was ripping.
Where was this?
Chop tank.
Oh my
And
god!
they went through.
That's
They're
awesome.
going
I
through the
saw
train
that. I
bridge.
was
They
right
go
off
through the
the
middle of
other
the
side of
train
the
bridge.
creek
You
from
see how close it is.
Oh,
It's
yeah.
and the kid flipped over. The current's ripping, flips over through the bridge. Bunch of debris under that bridge.
Was it
Everybody's
sharp
swimming.
edges? Yeah.
Yeah, they're floating under the bridge, hanging onto the kayak. I said, "This is nuts." I'm just looking at it. I said, "This is crazy." 40 of them.
You know, and one other thing I wanted to say
Awesome.
about that 6 mile an hour limit going back to Dove's Cove. The Maryland Bass Nation a couple of years ago opened up their membership to kayaks. We have a couple of kayak clubs in the Maryland Bass Nation.
Which I think is a good thing.
The guy, yeah, I do too. The guy who's the president, or was the president, he moved out of state now, of the Mid-Atlantic Kayak, went over and looked at that, wrote me a very nice letter saying kayakers have no problem with bass boats getting on a plane to go in and out there. I forward that to DNR, but once again, I guess
One
they're
guy.
hanging on that,
One guy had to hear.
that kids may
That's
be
horrible.
in danger. And this guy, I know he lied. He said that a bass boat come flying by at 70 miles an hour within 20 feet of one of his canoes. That's bullshit.
I've never seen.
Nobody would do
Nobody's
that.
been back here more than me. I've never seen anybody.
Nobody would do that.
No.
Kevin said he watched a dude fall out of his kayak yesterday in the mouth of the canal. And then Paul says that kayakers should have to take a safety course like we do, so they know
Yeah.
port and starboard where the channels are.
But you're making less wake when you're on plane than when you're
Yeah,
Hey,
You're gonna see
Brian-
me when I have my TR20
Is
come out.
Brian
Up the
Dyson
canal.
still?
I've heard stories about that boat. I wish I could have seen that thing.
I got a video on YouTube me coming in and out of the quarry canal.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
With my kid.
Rob said Free Willy with the big girl.
It was funny. It was.
So
Brian Dyson has the best kayak story ever, but I can't tell it because it's for
If
him
Brian
to tell.
is still, we got to get Brian on here.
If
Yeah,
Brian's
for
on, I would.
sure.
If he wants me to tell it, I would tell it, but I don't really want to. It's better when Brian tells it. When we get him on, though, I guarantee you will hear the best kayak story you ever
So-
heard in your life when Brian Dyson comes on the show. Dude.
the last
It
topic,
involves Jacob Wheeler. Just for the record.
oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh, I think so. The last topic I have written down here, and I think this is really going to be a good one, and it's just really for you two, you three guys, because obviously me and Chad ain't been on this earth as long, but
Frank Arthur said it was Greg.
how much has bass fishing really changed since the 80s and the 90s?
A lot.
What are the things that are the same? What are the things that are
Okay,
different?
you want me to start? Can I start with this? We didn't have drop shots. We didn't have
No.
wacky rigs.
Everybody, that shit was around
Not in the 80s.
way before. It was.
I didn't.
like
I was not aware of it.
shaky
I was fishing
head.
like a jitterbug, dude.
Shaky head in the 70s.
So what about like
Really?
the line, right? So like, did you have fluorocarbon?
No.
Like
We have monofilament.
They say the biggest advancements have been in a line
We had braid.
and fish
and
finders?
rod technology.
When braid?
Not fish finders?
No. Well, they had the flasher.
Yes,
they had the
that,
flasher.
I'm talking about that, but I'm talking about the best was line.
So,
Right.
oh god, dude,
Technology.
there used to be a lure called a power pack lure. You remember that? Where you pull the string. They had the frog, like the lakes.
Oh,
Yeah, that ain't that
that's the
old.
one
That's only
that,
like 10 years old.
Is that only 10
the
years
game
old?
show host, what's his name, Wolfrey or
Yeah.
something?
Remember that?
I had a couple.
We
But,
were
okay,
throwing in
so-
the middle river, and it's out there.
Yeah.
All of a sudden, boom! boom.
So-
all right, it works. And it's a damn catfish about that long.
So
That thing.
there was braid came out, and there was what, Fireline, spider wire,
With, like the Cajun
String
line, like the
Kevlar.
red line.
String Kevlar. Remember that? It was made out of the same stuff as a Kevlar vest. There was
I'm gonna
I mean,
wear
you
one of
still
those
flip.
all day tomorrow.
So no, I can't say that. But there was flipping and pitching still. Used to use pistol grip. Like, I don't know if you're
Yeah.
familiar with the little pistol grip rod
Pistol grip, yeah.
for your spinner bait, throwing on pistol
David
grip.
Fritz, I think, still has one in his boat.
Yeah. It's some differences. I mean, the old
No,
school
no.
techniques still work.
Now, what about like
The old school techniques work again
What
because
about
people are
the-
doing new school stuff.
what about the community behind it? Right? Was there as much talk, and was it easy to find information back then? So
Maybe for them,
See, them
but I wasn't
guys-
You
connected.
didn't have social media.
I
They were
wasn't
actually
connected,
talking
right?
about it today on Bass Live about GPS and the technology and all that. But they kept everything tight, man. A lot of the guys, they kept all these lures tight. Like
And they
talked
could.
about drop shots come from Japan, which it did, and all this technique and all that. But them guys, I was throwing a shaky hit back in the 70s. You know?
Somebody said in the 90s on the bay, 15 pounds was the shit. Best comment of the night. You should win a prize for
You know
that,
what?
Dustin.
And he was right.
He's
Watch-
right. And
watch the
that's
91 classic.
Came in with
Watch
this
the
12-pound bag back in the 90s. You were probably going to be in the top few.
Dude, I wanted
everybody
nothing
needs to
more.
watch the 91 classic.
I wanted
Go on
nothing
YouTube.
I've
more.
watched it before. Hook sets above the head and all that crazy
Back
shit.
then-
It's awesome.
Back
cool as
then,
hell.
my dream was to catch a 5-pounder. I wish I could. I would like, man, I want to catch a
I
5-pound
didn't
bass.
catch a 5-pounder this year. I ain't caught one yet.
I didn't call one this
Either.
year either,
I
but I have
haven't
caught plenty since then. But seriously, it was like, oh man, you catch a 5-pound bass, that was something.
Oh, I've caught
Yeah,
5
that
and
was-
6. I've caught 5s and 6 this year.
I'm not talking about now. I'm talking about
Now,
20, 30 years ago.
30 years ago.
So do you think that the quality of the fisheries was different, or it was the techniques that we were using was different?
Cycler.
Yeah.
Because back in 1972 when Agnes come through,
Right.
how
Yeah.
do we go damn
He
almost come
does
down?
not remember.
Oh, I've
that.
seen
Yeah.
that. I've seen that
You need to
video.
watch the documentary.
I
and stuff,
remember
where they're
Agnes.
getting ready to blow
Yeah.
a third of it to save.
Have you seen the video of
generators.
that old guy that was like on his deathbed talking about it? We should share that on the page
Well,
one day.
that ruined the flats.
I heard that.
It
Wiped
ruined
out
the
all the
grass. It
grass.
took what 10 years for the
At
grass
least-
to even
at
come
least
back.
10
Right. I
years.
remember that
Sediment
when
and
Agnes,
everything.
yeah.
It ruined it back.
Yeah,
It ruined it.
It was probably more like 15 years.
If
A
you-
5-pound bass
Grass
was a
really
good,
started coming
And
good
after
When was
that,
Agnes?
and that's when it started
72.
coming back. Middle
1972.
River was good, the 90s and stuff like that. But back in the 80s and stuff like that, Agnes ruined the whole Upper Bay.
What would
ruined it.
surprise you the most was maybe knowing what you guys know now and back then, like we said earlier, Dundee was a shit. You launched at Dundee. Dundee was the boat ramp was packed. Gunpowder, nobody didn't even buy. Middle River, Seneca, Saltpeter, all that.
Well,
Galloway Creek.
when I first started fishing, I started fishing after I gave up dirt bike racing, ATV racing. I went fishing.
Yeah.
Started going
I didn't know you did all that.
He said he could skateboard. I should have brought my
I've done
skateboard. dude.
everything. Man.
Should have brought my skateboard,
Racing
man.
cars.
Greg's
We're gonna have to talk about that after
Greg
the
is
show.
only into the cool sports, bro.
Rob said, remember the
Football, soccer,
grass
that's just
flat
that.
by the Woodrow Wilson.
Well, listen, I
Bridge.
went 2000, 2001. I started fishing. I got a little John
Why
boat.
don't
I
you
was in
start-
Lock Raven.
I started
first.
before that, dude.
2001. I got a John boat fishing Lock Raven and stuff like that. I didn't know shit. Didn't know nothing. Go to
Still don't, dude.
Walmart, buy rods and shit.
Just joking.
But
He's
then my buddy
been in the
told me,
money way
"Why-
more times than I have.
Why
this
don't we
year.
go to Mariner Point, launch out there, and fish out there? So we went to Mariner Point. I had a white spinnerbait, like a little straight king spinnerbait or something. Went out there along the grass bed from the train bridge in, like the channel, just throwing, caught like 38 bass, like
Wow.
1.5 pounders, and like one cut that went in the back
Mhm.
on one side. Caught tons of fish back there. Caught like 30 fish in an hour. It's crazy, but they're like pounders, 2 pounders.
Joe.
And I was hooked on a beta. That's when I got a bass tracker. Then I upgraded to a TR20 Triton.
That's how it happens,
That's when I
dude.
started. I met Scott, I think, in Dundee. I was talking to you. He goes, why don't you come to the Bass SQT weigh-in? And I come down there, and then all of a sudden I joined his club, and I got into it like full blown. When I get into something, I go full blown.
Yeah.
So, but back then, you didn't catch 5-pounders like that.
Well,
all
you
the
know,
That's
time.
what I'm saying.
Dan
That's what I'm
Thompson
saying.
So,
has
so
been
what
bass
changed?
fishing
Is
longer than
Dan
any of us.
No,
And
yeah.
Dan always tells me, he says, back in the 70s and 80s, it was nothing. This is quoting Dan, to catch 100 bass a day.
Really?
100 bass. And you ought to get him on this show one day and talk about it. Get
I'd love
somebody
to.
like him, Gary Bailey, who's,
Been doing
winding
it since
down
the
from all
70s,
his
man.
fishing. Gary Bailey won Angler of the Year with the Maryland Bass Federation 2 years in a row when there was 100 boats.
100
a
boat,
tournament.
130 boat
So
tournaments.
to win Angler of the Year once was quite an accomplishment. Gary did it, I'm pretty sure it's back-to-back years.
Oh,
So
wow.
you need to get Gary, Dan Thompson, J.R. Robertson, guys that
Old school.
Can we get them on the show?
Yeah.
Hook us
Yeah.
up,
Oh,
Scott. Hook us up,
sure.
man. We'd
Sure,
love to
man.
have them on
And,
the show.
I would
they
love
can
to
tell
talk to them
you
guys.
Let's
how it
Scott can hook
was
us
in
up.
the old days,
Now look,
and how it's changed.
I fished in the 90s. I had a bass boat in the 90s. I'm 48 years old. I was probably like about 17
You're
or
still
so.
older.
Right. But
Compared to me.
I did fish
I had a
there.
daughter your age.
And regardless what Greg says, I'm telling you, like drop shot was not like a technique that
Yeah,
we did.
nobody used it.
Yeah,
I
wacky
never
rig
used
was
it.
not something we did. It was Carolina rigs.
Oh, I love.
I don't know if anybody throws
fucking
Carolina rig anymore.
big-
I remember when the rattle trap came out. The rattle trap was a new bait.
That's hey.
yeah,
I caught a 7.5 pounder on in Headwaters on the Carolina rig this year. Like
mean,
I love.
people still
I
fish.
caught a big one in the pond in front of Greg one time on a Carolina rig. He's
Right.
like, "What the hell is that thing?" I'm like, "Don't tell anybody."
But
It's a Carolina rig.
that was
I know what it is. I won't throw it.
that was
Right.
the
You don't see me
difference.
throwing that.
There's a lot more. California is like
Chain.
I believe the
Yeah.
drop shot and all came from California later on, but it was a lot less techniques. The fishing was tough in the 90s.
So I want to add, like, back to Scott's point, right? So Scott said it was nothing to catch 100 fish in a day, and like
Well,
Greg
that
was
was
saying,
back before
30,
that.
38 fish
So
a day. Like,
quantity,
in the
but not
80s.
quality.
so what? Okay, so exactly what happened? What made it go from?
Agnes, fish kills.
Well,
But it's not.
So,
I don't believe.
Oh, you mean
that.
how they get good again?
72.
How they get good
Because
again?
if you look at the weights from the old Bassmaster Classics, it's nothing like what it was.
Right.
So what changed? Like, did we just get better at fishing, or is
Yeah.
the fishing pressure?
Technology,
No.
electronics.
cycler
Yes.
is cycle. Fast cycle. You get 2 or 3 good years. get
But I'm
some bad
talking about
years.
everywhere though.
But everywhere.
No, but
And
what
they
he's
move.
saying is, how did we go from a 5-pound bass is a good bass to a 5-pound limit is a good bag? You know what I
Yeah, the
mean?
upper bay has come on because of the grass and everything.
And
it
because
has a
of
lot to
catch and
do.
release up there.
Bass.
And they're hauling all the fish from
Yeah.
the bush, gunpowder,
Sunday.
sassafras,
all the way
Still
back to
Pond,
the northeast.
all up the northeast.
Right.
So these guys, especially in wintertime,
Yeah, you're right,
they just
Paul.
put their trolling motor down
Right.
and start flipping a silver buddy or something, and that's
Silver
where the
Buddy's
fish are.
still the shit. We
You
can't
take
talk
a
about
fish
Silver Buddy.
from Middle River and run him all the way up the northeast. There's no way that fish is going to come back to Middle River.
So you
I
don't
don't
believe
think
that it
so.
does?
I don't think they'll come back from the bush, sassafras. They'll be lucky if they go from northeast back to Swan
They'll
Creek.
stay where they got the.
Yeah,
As
as
So-
long as there's food and cover,
I would
they're
call.
gonna hang out.
I would call.
I think
our-
that screws with the spawn. I'm gonna say it.
I would- I would
think it
call
screws with
that.
spawn.
So I would
I
call.
agree.
I would
think it
call
does.
our area what Middle
You pull
Bay.
a bass off a
Let's
nest
call it
and take it
Middle
all the way
Bay,
up to the
right?
northeast.
Sure.
Is it gonna abort its eggs? Is
Well-
it gonna go dig a new nest?
Here,
So,
so let's-
people
What's gonna happen
are
at that
starting to run from up there down to here.
Well,
Now,
one
if you
thing
go
good
back-
about Chester County, I think they cut it off at the bush.
Good.
Or
Good.
somewhere. They don't let them run all the way
Danny
down.
Rodriguez, yep. I've talked to Danny about that plenty of times. He says
Danny
they go
says
up
they
and
the
down
fish
there.
move. He says they
Well,
up and down the bank.
Honestly, I think
Like the rockfish, do they
why would
migrate?
they
I
why wouldn't he
personally, I
go
don't-
winter
I don't
out
subscribe to that.
in front of Pools Island where there's 30 foot of water? Why wouldn't he go winter out there? I've caught fish out there on the
I
other side
know
of
where
Pools
they
Island
winter.
and rocks
We all know where they
years ago.
winter.
Bass.
Just go to a certain
Bass.
place in the
Largemouth
spring.
bass.
Yes, Pools Island.
Were you bass fishing when
Yes.
that happened?
I go on a rock points. You got Pools Island out here.
Sure.
On the other side where the big rock jetties come out.
Yeah. Yeah.
I went after middle summertime hot like this. I haven't
Right
tried
at the mouth of the gunpowder,
the
Yeah.
mouth, but
Like-
going up.
like near
Pools
Robin's
Island.
Between
Point.
the bush,
Pools
Robin's
Island.
Point. Robin's Point right there. comes
I
out.
striper fish right
All
there.
there.
the way out.
But
Yeah,
them
it's
rocks,
good
the
rock
rock
fishing.
jetties that come out.
Yeah.
A couple years ago, like 10, 12 years ago, I went out there just fooling around, And I said, looking for some rocks and some different stuff. Fishing them rocks. I throw Senkos and worms up on them rocks. I caught a bunch of 12-inch bass out there, 12, 13, 14-inch bass, all on them rocks along out there on that main bay. Why wouldn't they winter out there?
They go.
That's pretty cool,
Abbey
man.
Creek, those places, the mouth
Abbey's
of Abbey.
loaded.
Let's just
I've
say.
been there a couple
Where the
of
hell's
times
Abbey?
in the
What's
last
Abbey
couple of
Creek?
years, and I can't catch shit there.
You don't know where Abbey Creek's at?
No, I don't know that one. What's Abbey Creek?
I don't know
Tell
what
me
that is
later.
either.
Mouth of
It's
the
in the
bush.
bush.
Oh, in the
Mouth
bush.
of the bush. Got a big old buoy front in it. It's got bombs and stuck in the mud.
Oh, you can't go in there?
No.
Dude,
I checked it out this year. Just
it's like Romney Creek. How many fish you think are in Romney Creek? Tons.
Yeah.
Or
It's
or Special Island or
Suspected.
Mackerel Point.
That's where all the big snakeheads come from.
What?
Them
Mackerel
boys
Point?
go on. Them boys come on.
APG.
They come on APG. They're allowed to fish with any fish from the bank. They go on waders out there,
Right.
and they're going. I fished with them snakehead boys. They go out there and wade that back bay. It's full of lily pads and grass, and that's where the giant snakeheads come from.
There
Really?
big bass come out of there. I'm sure
Big
there's
bass,
gotta be.
6, 7 pounders.
Really?
Well, they don't see a lure.
My
On the
friend
off,
bought football this year.
on the off limits though. You can't.
It's in Suspected. You know where the causeway's at in the back.
Yeah.
Causeway with that used to be open, but they got that built up there. And a Suspected Narrows comes in a big channel, comes all the way back into the APG, and it's big flat back there, man. It's got lily pads in it. It's got nice water and
Right, but
everything.
I'm saying it's off limits. You can't go back on.
You
the boat,
can't
right?
get in there. If you come in the boat, the patrol boats will get you.
That's
You
what
gotta
I'm
go
saying.
in, down,
It'll
and
be a
come
bad
in.
day. Like
But the
there's
causeway,
a
No, I ain't
right
going
there.
back there.
you could get out and walk across the causeway, walk across, and shore fish on that one side.
Really?
But you're not. That's APG property.
But if you can get, like, I know you can, I can, obviously being military, but
Yeah,
like,
you can go back. And
if
only
you
be
can
sure
get
there's
on APG, like if you have a military ID, you can go to their office and ask for a permit, and then you can go fish all the bank.
Let's do it.
You cannot.
You can get us in,
You
Tony.
cannot go back up in Romney Creek. You cannot go
not
on the
Romney.
side of
Not on the
Lake
boat,
Swan.
no.
It doesn't matter what permit or what clearance you have. You cannot do so.
It's like
You can
mustard gas.
acquire,
yes.
you can acquire a red zone permit
Yes.
to fish specific zones
Yeah.
on the land of APG.
Right.
You can't go
Back
boating
behind,
there. You
back
can't go
behind the
boating.
fence. You cannot put a boat in there. Don't
Wow.
think that you go get a red zone permit and then you can just go fish APG.
Fishing
Yeah, no, it's not gonna be
fishing
a good
probably
day.
so
It's
good
not gonna be a good
back
day.
there.
That's where
Not going to be a good
That's
day.
where the big snakehead come out from the anglers tournament.
I know exactly
Is
what
it
it was.
re- oh,
It was
so
called- it was
14
not
Yeah,
behind
the
the
plot-
fence.
the
It was
plot
not behind the
thickens.
fence.
Wait a minute.
It
How
was
big
not
was
behind
it?
the fence.
14 pounds?
12, 5.
Was that the Photoshop tournament or whatever I keep
Yeah.
hearing about?
Photoshop
You wait his
tournament.
buddies fishing.
As
Something
soon
like
as
that. I
you
heard
go
about
down
that.
on Aberdeen Proving Grounds, you go to the boat ramp down the bottom, and you go over top of that clearway where that water goes in
That's
across
the
from the sun.
causeway there.
The
Yeah.
causeway right there is exactly where that fish was caught.
Yeah, on the right hand side.
On the
Yeah,
right
I
hand
fished
side.
it.
He was on public ground. Anybody can obtain a pass to come on APG and go fish that water.
No bow fishing,
No boat fishing.
just shore fishing. So it's loaded with big snakes
It's loaded.
and loaded with big bass.
In my opinion, because of the rules of the tournament, obviously passing off a snakehead is illegal, and I do not condone that. But the dude that went there and fished it, I think that was intelligent, in my opinion.
Well, it wasn't a APG property was not off limits in last year's rules. Now,
Right, that's
this
what
year
he's
it
saying.
is.
Is very
That's what I'm
clever.
saying. But nobody else thought to do that. Hey, I can just go to the
He
office
found the
center and get a
loophole.
permit and go on APG
Them
and
guys-
fish completely unpressured
All of
water.
them guys still
You
got
found the
sneaky
loophole.
holes, sneaky holes where the boats can't get
Sneaky
in.
holes.
And they got sneaky holes where they can go catch 10, 12-pound snakeheads. But we in our boats can't go catch them because everywhere
No.
we go on our boats, the boats get in and are slaughtering the big snakes.
You can float right on the other side of the
Now-
water and look over and see exactly where the juice is, but you ain't never getting to it.
I got it.
Well,
It kills
so,
me.
so,
It kills me every day looking out there. I see blow ups, and I'm like, "There's a 12-pound or a 13-pound
So
largemouth out there."
after
somewhere,
Rob's
and
point,
nobody can ever throw anything. At
so after Rob's point, I'll tell you why you can't go in there.
Greg, I know for a fact, likes to keep snakeheads. He wants the snakehead fishing to pick up. You're not
I
an
love
advocate of
catching,
killing
but I
them.
quit fishing for them because I can't catch
And
them.
Scott's like, kill those fuckers.
Scott hates
Am I
them.
correct?
I
Me and
hate
him
it
are
too.
Yeah.
different.
Yeah,
Oil and water, totally
I know.
different.
I know.
But we can still be friends.
Oh, I
of
know.
course, of course. You know that. Yeah. But you want to keep them alive. You want the snakehead.
Yeah, I release them.
You
I
like
had-
catching them.
I had people
and
saying,
I'm kind of
telling
with
Scott,
Scott.
I'm telling
killing the
Scott
shit
because
out
of my
of them.
release videos, your club is stocking bass, but Greg Hall is releasing snakeheads, and I don't think that's right. Remember they were saying that?
Oh yeah, I've heard
That's
all
so
kinds of
stupid,
comments
man.
like that.
It's one fish. That's how I see it.
You go,
Like-
it's my choice. If you want to kill them, kill them. If you want to catch them and release them, it's your choice. If you want to go kill everyone,
And that
go
is
buy
the
a
law
boat and go
right
kill
now.
as many
It's
of them
like
as you can.
bass. You can eat a bass
It's
if you
my
want.
choice.
I don't like it, but
Well,
you can.
we don't need to tell people that.
Well, it's
People
true.
don't need to know
They
this.
do.
Now let me say this about the APG thing real quick.
But do
'cause-
you, real quick, to just finish my point real quick, sorry.
Sure.
Tony. Do you think that's gonna hurt the bass fishing?
No, I think bass fishing has gotten better since snakehead showed up.
Okay.
I actually agree with
3
Greg.
years
It does seem like it.
They're
has.
putting in just as much fry for
We're
bass
not
to
going to
feed
get
off of.
scientific why, but
There's
And
plenty of
Tony,
bait.
Tony
There's
has a
plenty
point
of
he
bait
wants to
for
make.
anything to eat. Remember, we were over there when we took our pictures of Seneca. How much bait was in the water, Scott? That
Oh
day?
my God.
How much bait was there? I didn't think we caught anything because there's too much bait in the water. All the fish were pulled.
There's a lot.
Yeah.
It was,
Give
so
away
much
much
bait.
bait.
It was like that down on the chop tank.
I tell you,
Wednesday.
me and Scuba
So much
Steve can
bait.
definitely attest to that. Going back in the pond sometimes, and I'm looking at
Dude,
freaking
like when we
baits
went back there,
there's just
There's a lot of bait
there's
for
a
grass
million,
yesterday.
there's a million bait balls everywhere you look, and it's how do you compete with that?
You know why you can't catch fish back here in the summertime?
They move out.
No, they don't.
Down
Some
deep.
of them do. Okay,
Some
but
of
you
them
go
do.
back here with side scan, and you go out there,
It's bait-
up and down side scan.
bait
there's
everywhere.
bait balls
everywhere.
hanging in 10 feet of water.
Everywhere.
Guess what's hanging underneath them?
Stripers.
Big bass and stripers.
Yeah.
Have you seen the
Suspended.
OY?
Suspended fish is the hardest fish ever to catch,
Yeah.
especially when they're concentrating on balls of bait.
Have you seen the OY spawn back there? It's insane.
That's what it is.
Like when the OY starts spawning, you're like, oh, good lord, it's like the whole bank is
Yeah,
all
that's
the way
another
around.
Can we go to the
If you
comments
go
real
figure
quick,
out,
Chad?
if you go figure out
Go to
how to
comments,
catch them
listen.
under the bait balls, you could probably catch 22-pound, 23-pound salmon.
I scooped up some of them LYs with my net and tried live bait with them, and it's still gonna get
So-
a bite. So what was your point, Tony? I'm
So-
sorry, I didn't mean to.
No, you're good. You're good.
sidetrack
So,
you.
so my point about the whole APG, why you can't get off limits, and obviously I
Paul.
spend a lot of time there because
I like
military and
Paul's
shit like
input
that.
on Things.
So,
It's interesting.
and I'm going to keep my opinion out of this for a multitude of reasons, but there's a if you Google a trip at Edgewood, okay, and this was around your time, Scott, not to age you or anything here, but a lot of the
What's that
chemical
mean, Tony?
The
Sorry.
a lot of the chemical weapons that were used in both world wars were developed at APG
Yeah.
or at
Edgewood.
Edgewood.
Edgewood
you
was
go-
chemical, APG is
If you go
explosives.
on Edgewood, there are buildings that are blocked off with radiation signs on. Like
Yeah.
you don't want to be in that water. I'm
And
sorry.
They're
Like-
still buried there, and you don't even know where they buried them at.
So there was an
World War
armory
One.
being built, not within the last 10 years on Edgewood, and they were excavating. They hit a fucking mortar and blew up an excavator.
Oh shit!
Like
Do you ever see the whole community that they build up near APG? And
They
they
blow it
had
up.
to buy it out. They bought all the people out of it
the
because there's chemical weapons on the property where they built
is
the
it
houses.
the Hartford Commons?
Something like that.
Hartford. It's
My
right.
buddy of mine,
it's like
Chuck
Edgewood,
Tawny,
right?
was surveying it, and he was taking pictures of wild turkeys.
Shut
all
your
over,
phones
walking
off.
through all these yards. and these abandoned houses look like The Walking Dead. Look like
Yes,
The Walking Dead.
That's off the Bush River.
Yeah.
It's an old campground. There's these old houses, and it's totally gone.
It's a newer development. Though. It's
Yes.
Like the 2000s.
It's not.
They
far
listen
from,
in.
It's literally. It's off the Bush. It's off the Bush River. I know exactly what you're talking about.
I work-
Joe
I work-
Biden
and
is
it's
listening right
on
now.
and it's on APG, and you can't get to
They'd
it.
have done a lot.
I work on Aberdeen Proving Grounds and I work on Edgewood Proving Grounds. And there's been 2 cases that I know of since I've actually started working there where one day down in Edgewood on the airfield, I'm sorry when you're down there, you guys always see the helicopters and stuff flying around.
The shit hooks.
down in Edgewood.
And the Blackhawks.
We were actually, I wasn't on
I
the
don't know nothing
specific
about
job
it.
site, but my guys that I work with were taking care of this job and they were actually digging across the airfield to lay steam pipe, replace some steam pipe underneath the
Laying
ground.
pipe.
And they hit white phosphorus in the ground. And when you hit
Oh,
white phosphorus and
Dude,
it
it's
mixed with
napalm.
oxygen,
It's napalm. It's
it
napalm.
combusts into flames. So they're digging down,
It's
and as
napalm.
soon as they're pulling up this dirt, and the dirt is just catching on fire. As
So,
soon as
like-
it hits the oxygen.
So white phosphorus, and this is military lingo here, but white phosphorus is considered a war crime to use it against soft targets because it's so like, oh my god, like you see like old Vietnam movies and shit like that that talk about napalm. White phosphorus is the napalm on steroids. It's just disintegrates everything. It burns so hot it burns white, like it will disintegrate you instantly. So, but I've actually heard of that story. That was when they were building that armory,
Yep.
and that was one of the instances where. So, and there's none of this shit's secret because, like you said, it's common knowledge. But that's part of the reason why they don't allow boats in parts of the Bush River because you just don't know what's there.
There's
And-
live explosives in
Let
the
me-
water.
let
So
me ask
back
you
in
a
the day,
question.
back in the day, for testing and purposes, they used to shoot out across the water and stuff like that.
Shoot
And
the
yeah.
poles out.
Yeah. You have
Yeah.
dud rounds and everything out there all along the water. They don't want somebody coming through there with a deep crankbait and picking up a fucking mortar round and pulling it into their boat
Let me ask you a
and
question.
blowing themselves up.
Well, I was fishing on the Upper Bay one time above Bush River, working all them little tiny, right up against the bank, just working my way up. And I looked down in clear water and about 3 feet, and I saw the warheads right there, about that far from my trolling motor.
Oh,
I couldn't
no.
believe how many there were.
No.
Really?
I just froze and I looked around. They're laying there.
Mortar rounds?
They're like cone shaped,
Yeah.
about that long. And
Yeah.
I can take you up there and show you where they're laying out in the water just off the bank. I left and I've never been
Dude,
back.
it's
Laying
no
up
joke,
at Abbey
man.
Creek, laying
Like,
up on the
yeah.
bank.
It's no joke. Like
Exactly.
for
There's
real.
a
Let me
freaking
ask you a
army
question.
tank right there.
But there's big fish back there, man.
Let me ask you a question.
You gotta risk it for the biscuit sometime, boys.
Whiskey for the biscuit. What kind of frog did you throw yesterday?
One that floats.
Just getting off of this topic because
One that
I don't
floats?
need the military on my ass. Fucking chair, dude.
No, that's not information. That's not secret information.
I don't want to know nothing
it's
about
public
it.
information.
But
I got
for real though, like
I got 99 problems and mustard gas ain't one.
so
It can be if you go to the wrong place on Edgewood Proving Grounds.
and like I said, like I don't feel like this is juice because we're not doing
Paul
anything
said the bombs sound like good structure.
right. Like we're,
You
we're
can't
not,
deep crank them, according to Chad.
like we're not doing anything. We're not doing anything special out there. Like yeah, we got lucky yesterday. We got the big bite, but like yesterday, color mattered, and I will say that is color mattered. Don't. I know you're gonna say it. One of you
No, I'm laughing at Kevin's comment. He was like, "Give
Black
Tony."
frogs matter.
No, Kevin said, "Give Tony a few more beers than ask him that
Right.
question."
like, and I'll be honest with you. So Thursday was yesterday.
Paul's blowing up your spot.
So yesterday was the tournament. Wednesday, because I'm
Terminator frog.
Yes,
Terminator.
absolutely.
Well,
That's
Paul
what I
was-
throw.
You
That's,
probably wasn't throwing it yesterday though. because
I was
it's given
throwing it
away.
yesterday.
It was red.
I
It
was
wasn't red.
no, it
You
wasn't.
said it wasn't red.
Don't
give
I
up
swear
your
by
juice,
the
dude.
red.
not red.
It was.
So,
I
it
seen
was
him throwing
black.
it. No, it was glitter.
It was pink. It was pink with
glitter.
right. But like, so the whole reason why I decided to throw the color I was throwing is because I went up to the flats on Wednesday because it's 5 minutes away from where I'm working and training, where I'm angle training, all that other nonsense. So we're
Right.
doing all this crap, and I was like, well, fuck it, I got the boat, I'm gonna go fishing. So I went up on the back channel where I always fish, threw the red frog, nothing, well, not even a bite. So I was like, man, I gotta change color or something because I know I can. This time of year, I don't really care what the conditions are. I can get a fish to eat a frog. I feel that confident in it. And I've very rarely thrown a frog and not gotten at least one or two fish on it throughout a period of time.
Yeah, you
so
told me that before.
That's the best
So-
bite of the season. is the frog.
so
love
I changed the
catching
color of the
fish on
frog,
frogs.
right? As soon as I
I
changed
live
the
for a
color,
flipping bite.
3 blow-ups. Now they all missed it, but there was 3 blow-ups in a very quick period of time. And it wasn't at the end of the day either when they just were going to eat anything. So I was like, man, yesterday I'm like, I'm not putting that red frog on. They didn't want it yesterday. They ate this one. The water clarity is roughly the same. I'm going to stick with what I got. Now, up until the end of the day, I only had 1 bite on it, but it was the right bite. It was the lunker. That's what I caught the big one on. So it works. Now, towards the end of the day, where me and Paul were 75 yards from each other, I'm not, and Chad's a much better fisherman than me. I think I caught 3 to 4 to his 1
I am
on
a
that
better
frog.
fisherman than you.
So, like, yesterday for me, color mattered a lot. Like,
What did that frog give you?
confidence.
Confidence.
Sure.
Right.
90% of fishing is confidence.
I agree.
I agree
absolutely
100%.
I
You
fully
can
agree.
go out there and throw pink frog.
If you get bit on it,
And if you get bit on it, oh man, I'm gonna throw that for a while.
right. And
Yeah,
they
that's
say
what it
that's
is.
how you get your confidence baits, and like your confidence bait might be different than mine, but
I
you
will,
got bit on it,
absolutely.
so you throw it more,
Throw a pink frog.
and you'll
by the
keep
way.
throwing it more. You get bit on it more, and that's how it
Don't
becomes
sleep.
your confidence bait.
Don't sleep.
Like
on
I
it.
could like go throw a spinner bait and get bit on it, and then next thing you know, keep throwing it. I'll throw it every time I go out and get bit on it, get more confidence. you may throw a Cinco.
Yeah.
But
Get
sometimes
bit
you
on it,
lose
and then-
confidence. Like so that kind
Well,
of
it's not
screwed me a
always
little
a bite on that,
But
but
that-
you have confidence. Like I know they'll bite this. Like I know they'll catch fish.
bit. Now that screwed me when I
Yeah.
fished the tournament with him because we went up Conowingo and I had all the confidence in the world on the jig because we caught them in the worst conditions I've ever fished on Conowingo.
Right.
And with that jig. So I picked it up, I threw it all day, never got bit on.
Totally different conditions, though.
Wasn't
Sure.
a jig bite.
Totally different conditions.
Right.
Right.
So
you still throw it knowing that you had confidence in that bait.
But what
absolutely.
Yeah.
what color of crawfish you spit up in your live well column?
Usually orange.
Orange and green.
Right.
Orange, green pump.
Yeah, that makes sense. The jig color I was catching on was neither of them though.
That mainly
That's
they
the
feed
thing,
on
you
a
know,
better crawfish.
like-
That's your reaction thing too.
Right. So I don't know. Like it's all just a massive science experiment. It's literally what am I going to do that causes a reaction today? And you have certain things that statistically for you, cause a reaction in the fish, right? Like for me, if it's from middle of June up until probably mid-September,
Frog.
I'm throwing a frog. I
Mhm.
don't, you know what I mean? I'm just going to throw it. Like
But you got to know when to put it down too.
Right. That's the thing.
Yes.
When do you start flipping those?
There are
pockets and
days
start
it's
throwing
not a
them
frog
forward?
bite. It's just not.
And
They could be suspended.
I've
They could
caught
be
a
on the
fish on
bottom.
a frog every time I've gone fishing since mid-June.
Really?
Yes. No matter where.
every Thursday night, come look on my boat. And I got 4 rods out. Now, if I'm fishing grass, swim bait, buzz frog, popping, pad crasher, and
Speed worm.
a certain kind of frog.
so 2 frogs, a buzz toad, and
Another
swim
frog.
bait.
But 3 of them you fish fast, and a soft body frog you pop it slow, pop it
Right.
fast, pop it slow, and you got to see if they want it.
Right.
You know, we won when we won. They
We
didn't
won the
want it.
solstice
Now,
on
so
buzz toad,
so
right?
how many bites do you
Well,
have to
most
get?
of the time-
Swim bait was
Yeah.
fast. I mean, I don't care what it was. If it was going fast across the top of the water, they were getting it.
But
When I
here's the
tried a
thing.
hollow body, they didn't want it slow. I caught one I think on a soft body frog, and it was small little rat, but they wanted something fast that day.
Right.
So how many
Skipping across
how
Most of
many
the time when I've been in the money, it's been a flipping bite for me.
how many bites do you have to get on a frog for you to keep throwing? I'll throw it all.
One.
The first tournament I ever won. The first tournament I ever won on a frog was the club tournament. I got 5 bites on it all day. All day. I threw it all day. I got 5 bites. I just happened
If
to
I
catch.
can't get a blow up within a
20
20
minutes.
minutes or so
Yeah. Yeah.
with a frog, I'm trying something different.
Right.
I'll take another rod.
Oh,
See what
I'll throw it for
I'm
3 hours.
rotating.
That blow.
I'll
I'm
flip for
rotating.
3 hours without a bite.
Yeah, but see, you're looking, but sometimes that'll kill you. You live in
Yeah. Oh,
Iowa.
definitely.
Okay,
Sure.
But I've been fishing the gunpowder before. I won one tournament one time. Middle of the day, bright bluebird skies, back in the river, and going up and down. I knew the fish are there. I'm throwing Senkos, little worms, all kinds of shit. Right? Nothing was biting. So I said, oh, I gotta pick up my Bassariski. You know the white Bassariski frog. It's one that plops with the.
Somebody
wings.
already said it on there.
Never even heard.
He heard the story before. I done 2 club tournaments that way. I started throwing that dude, throwing it down the center of the river. That thing started boom, caught 5 or 6 fish like in the middle of 2 o'clock, like bright sun and everything with that frog, just throwing it out there and just getting it come across the water. And when he wouldn't touch a Senko, slow flipping, pitching, spinner bait, everything
Right.
in the book he wouldn't touch, but they hit that
Right.
out of the blue.
Yeah. Yeah, that's how it is, though. That's the crazy part.
It's like
Yeah.
you don't know what they're going
Right.
to hit sometimes.
I'm
See,
gonna
like-
give up. I'm
So-
gonna give up a little bit of juice here, real quick.
Uh-oh.
I will say, on them blow ups, when you're out there and you're fishing those fish, most of those blow ups, I think you should always have
A follow
a
up.
follow up.
Yes, I
I
gotta
think
go to
you should
the.
get
always
Soft
have
plastic.
a
a
Soft
Senko
plastic.
or a
I gotta
soft
talk about
plastic
that.
type
Soft
on
plastic.
and that made a difference for me and Steve.
But
last night.
but to Greg's point, so it's so oh god, there's so much to it because like you can have confidence, say, in a spinner bait, and you go out and you throw the spinner bait, and like you said, you gotta know when to put it down. But also, maybe the tide ain't right yet. Maybe not
Yeah,
not,
they
not
aren't
feeding
active. They
yet.
aren't active.
Yeah, there's
they
no
aren't set up
current.
on the cover properly.
Right, yeah, it's so much to it. So that's what makes us, you learn and you get more dialed in.
Or it's just a
and stuff.
reaction, but you happen to throw it right on top of one, and you twitch it, and
I
it
love
reacts to
As
it,
soon as you hit the water,
and it's a lucky bite.
yeah,
That's how it works
I call
out.
I'm
that
also scared
a
of them
decoy
land
fish.
doing that as well. Though they land right on their back and it freaking they move
Well,
out
that's
instead of actually hitting.
So
them.
when you throw a bait,
I
and you
follow
catch
up
one,
on those
right?
fish with
So
a weightless sinker. though.
you throw a bait and you catch one, and then you don't get another bite for 2 freaking hours. That's a decoy fish. That's what I call it. That is not the bite, but he made you think it was.
Well,
Yeah,
Yeah,
That's the designated biter.
right. Yeah,
I definitely
yeah.
had
you
that
guys,
happen a
you guys
couple
need,
times.
you guys need, I know you, like you ride fish to gunpowder all the time, so you guys need to go other places. You got to fish to shore.
Right,
Stuff.
learn.
You want to learn
Oh,
tide.
I'm addicted to that.
You want to
right
learn
now.
tide. You learn it and start fishing to shore.
So I want to talk about the follow
Paul
up
said
thing
tide is
real
in the
quick
factory, though. I
because
think he's being smart. Though.
so
That's
The,
because Tony.
Yeah.
So
Paul-
those other
Paul
factories.
Fuckman is- So I really do think that having a follow up bait, if you're going to throw a frog or a buzz bait or whatever topwater you want, I think it's the most. That is the
A Senko.
follow up. The follow up
A
bait
Senko.
is more important than the topwater bait.
And which follow up bait? Cinco
And so,
or so?
so we had the tournament on the Chop Tank last Saturday. The club, I've never fished there before. I decided I'm going to fish a certain area, lots of pads, little cuts in the pads. I'm just going to go there and fish, right? So I only caught 4 keepers, which, is not great by any means, and they weren't big. However, I'll take 4 keepers on the body of water I've never fished ever for the first time. Sure, why not, right? So I go in there. 3 out of my 4 keepers came on a follow up on a short strike on top water. 3 out of 4.
Or soft plastic.
Different, and best part was it was a different follow up every time.
Right.
So
Because they think they hit it and injured it, and then they see that come down. They think that's whatever they hit, right?
I honestly, dude, like if I'm fishing the grass and I see a fish blow up, unless they're really eating that top water, I'm not throwing the frog on the blow up spot.
Right.
I'm throwing the Senko on the blow up
Right,
spot.
yeah.
Or whatever it is.
Senko's
I'm gonna
usually the follow up bait to go with.
throw. Not on the chop. It was a swim jig on the chop tank.
Really?
Now I'm
Are
not
you throw a
still.
swim jig for a follow up
A
bait?
swim
Yeah,
jig
I
for
throw
a
a spinner
follow-up.
bait on for a follow up.
Seems
Really?
a little.
You know why?
Real
I
thick
want,
You
I
know
grain.
why?
want to
Yeah.
throw something that is slow and it's just sitting there.
You know
in
why I
its
throw the
face,
swim
though.
jig?
I don't want to burn it.
Because
Okay.
if they
Senko
bite
out
that
there.
swim jig, they're in the boat. It's over. They bite the swim jig, they're in the
We
boat.
Dude, if they bite a
fished the
freaking
next day.
Senko, they're pretty much going.
How many keepers think I caught the next day when I fished the chop tank? I caught like 15 keepers
Okay.
and missed the key fish. But I can't buy a bite out of the pads. I don't know what's wrong with me. I throw everything. I can't buy. I catch them out of pads.
We
Frank
talked about
caught one tournament out of the pads first thing in the morning. I can't get a bite on the high tide on the pads. Can't do it. I fish
don't.
wood, and when a tide drops, I fish wood, and I know exactly where to fish.
Yeah.
When
Oh,
a
well, I
tide
didn't know
drops.
what you was talking about at first. Okay,
Wax
that's what
Senko,
we're talking
wacky
about.
style.
Yep.
That's it.
Yeah, it's crazy because like and the thing is I've really just started recently to get on like the importance of the follow-up bait. Like for years I've heard guys talk about it. I'm like, dude, come on. Like that fish eats something like because you think of a largemouth really as an ambush predator. Like they're
Right.
sitting in the grass, they're waiting. Oh, there's something. I'm gonna take a swat at it. I missed it. I'm gonna go back in there. They really sit right there. They really do.
But it's a luck shot if you really catch
But
it.
with the
I don't
follow up
think it
bait,
is though because
what I'm
He
saying is,
gave up his area. When he misses it, he gave up where he's at. So if you throw it in there, you get lucky. If you throw it in front of his face, he'll eat it. But I doubt very highly they'll come back twice. Though.
they're not hitting that top
yesterday.
water
They got to
again.
be super aggressive. I've
Yeah.
only had them come back a couple times.
I had them chase it down
They're
before.
super
when
If
they-
they get a hook in their mouth, they ain't coming back.
Oh,
So-
if they taste metal, that's done.
The
But I have had them strike at it, and I kept working it, and then strike at it again, like follow it. But
Rob Steiner, floating worm,
I agree.
I think, yeah, floating worm, yeah, there's
or
one
fluke.
trick worm.
Rob Steiner, you can call me sea bass, bro.
So I really think that, like, so he strikes at it, right? Top water misses it or whatever, and then you throw that follow up bait. He thinks it's, oh, I heard it, and he thinks it's the same thing. Especially if you throw the same color. Like
See,
if you're
I'm
throwing,
gonna-
if you're throwing like a black frog, and you throw
See,
a
I'm
black
gonna
Senko
disagree
afterwards,
with-
he thinks,
yeah.
oh, he just fucked it up,
So,
and now I'm going.
I'm going to disagree with Greg here because Greg said it's kind of a luck shot. Like the last 2 trips, now this is just the last 2 trips, so it could be just whatever, right? But like the last 2 trips I've been out on the chop tank and the gunpowder, which are 2 completely separate bodies of water, every time I get a blow up that misses, I will get that fish to bite. I may not get them to commit. So like yesterday was a good example. One missed a frog. I threw the Senko in, felt the bite, set the hook. No weight on it. The Senko's gone. He just had the end of the Senko. But the fish still bit. I almost want to say it's like an 80% probability.
Well, but also then the chop tank is a little different because there's more than one fish right there. Most of the time, there's more than one.
See, I didn't think there were any more than 3 fish in the whole chop tank after this.
Tons of fish now.
There's only 3
But
fish.
you go down there, like I told
And we
you,
didn't catch any of them.
pads are flooded. They're up in them pads on the edges of pad stuff. When that tide goes out and it's calling, where did the fish go? They'll come
I have
out
no
through
idea.
the first piece of cover, either a log, dock piling, or something like that. That's where they're going to be at.
Right.
And they're easy to catch when it comes out in low tide.
And they stack up.
See, I caught all my fish
Especially
over there when
my-
it was high.
See, my 360, I got 360, and I'll go on the edge of the pads in low tide, and I'll
yeah.
look and see, okay, there's some little spurred logs over here. You can't see them, but I can see them on my 360. And I caught fish like
See, that makes me think because
Frank's laughing at there's a lot of fish in the chop tank.
see that makes me think
Frank
because I
You got
definitely
them crying
like
tears, dude.
I got pretty good units. I got Helix 10s, G3s. They're not the best thing in the world, but it's enough to be competitive. Like I have
But you
never
can't
fished a
see
chop tank
with
before,
that
and I
360. You can't
never
see in
side
front
scanned.
of you.
but I could have easily went by
You can go
a-
side scan if you got time to
and
see
I
that
never did
graph
it.
at all.
I
Do
never
you
did
have, you got forward facing sonar?
No.
You ain't seeing them
It's
until you float over top of the fish until unless
Or
you
go
got
by it.
360 or a freaking live
360,
scan.
I can throw out
360 is the shit.
360 is a shit.
360
I'm
is
getting 360.
I would
before
get that
live scan.
before,
Yeah.
forward facing
I
sonar.
think for
we
what
get
we
360.
do, we fish structure, we fish grass lines.
And
I
we
think,
fish shallow.
I think we fish shallow.
See, I don't even do that, man. I really don't like.
You don't fish
It's
grass lines?
it's a disgrace. It's honest, and I'm gonna shit on
you
myself
don't
here.
fish any structure?
It's a disgrace how little I use my graphs.
Fuck with Tony, dude.
I
Dude.
don't use my.
It's a disgrace.
I got 360
Wait a
in
minute,
front of
what
my
were you
road. That's
saying?
all I
I'm
use.
sorry.
Yeah.
I
I
said
don't use nothing else.
it's a disgrace how little I use my graphs. It
I
really is.
never come on.
Dude,
I'm the
it's
same
hard.
I
way.
never come on.
Like I spent fucking $4,000 on 2 Helix 10s, and I might get 10% of capability. out of
Yeah,
it.
I got a
Fish
Helix
shallow
9,
grass,
maybe
I don't even have
everything.
I don't have more because I think that tick scares the
Right,
fish.
It's
it's
terrible.
the penguin, right? The penguin. They hear the penguin. But why, if we're fishing 4 foot of freaking water, I can see the 360. That's a different story. 360, if I had it, I probably would cut it off. But, I mean,
But you
Dude,
fish,
even-
you fish the same spots most of the time anyway.
Right.
Like if it's
That's what I'm
I
saying.
know everything that's here anyway.
right.
Now-
I'm going to turn it off.
What about
Right.
Conowingo? Do you use them up there?
Well, that would be a different
I-
story. That would be definitely.
I don't even use
I don't
mine
think
up
it's
there.
hard to use like 360
No.
up there.
No, like an idiot. Like I have them.
Like
I
I
don't
said,
use them.
There's
Like-
so much shit in the water up there. It's all shit everywhere.
Right. Where the fuck are they? It's a
Yeah.
needle in a haystack, right? Sometimes it's worse being able to see everything. Like I fish with guys in my club that have 360 and all they stare at it all day.
Kevin said he hasn't turned on his live scope in 3 weeks.
Well, that's because there's 3 feet of grass everywhere.
Yeah,
That's
there's
what I'm
no-
saying.
it's hard to
Right.
use
That's my
360.
point.
I feel like
We
live
shallow
scope is
water
your
fish.
beneficial up in Conowingo. And
That would be
that's
a
it.
different story. But for what we mainly fish, the flats, Bush River, freaking Middle River, whatever, we're not fishing that deep of water where we're like finding ledges offshore and fishing.
Well, you can put,
There may be some
you
around.
can put
Don't get me
live
wrong.
scope in perspective mode where it will shine out in front of you, and it'll show the live view in front of you,
And you
almost
see-
like the 360
but I
view,
heard
but
that
it's live.
it ain't the
360
same.
not live.
Right, I know.
360
It ain't
goes
the
around
same.
like radar.
But you can see the structure all around you
Yeah, you
in
can see
shallow
fish.
water.
You can see the fish on them too.
But I heard
But they'll
people.
go around again. The fish will be gone. or they'll be
People
moving.
spend
I think
a lot
it's
of
easier
time
to place your bait
chasing-
and distance your bait off of 360 than it does
Yeah.
live scope.
It's like
Yeah,
every
it's more.
20 foot or something
every
like that.
10 feet.
It's
Yeah,
10
I
feet
think
every
so.
10 foot. But then they say people chase ghosts on live scope as well.
Yeah.
Fish that
Well,
ain't going to bite.
You got to know what you're doing with electronics
Yeah.
to really dial it in right.
So I
Like
went
Frank
to.
was telling me when he went up north to fish smallmouth, why he got the live scope is fish smallmouth from
That's what
big
you need
water
it for, that kind of thing.
to see the
Right.
schools. But you know, if you said he ever fished a caught, he's seen on live scope.
Well, the live
But
scope
here,
helped
you
you
know,
yesterday.
Tidal water, lower
Right.
shallow water, it's.
Yeah.
I would like to have it, but I'm not investing that kind of money
Me neither.
for that.
No, not
Right.
really.
Like I think with the Helix
You know what
10s
we
is
did?
overkill.
You
Honestly.
asked about back in the day. You know what we did back in the day? You stuck your rod in the water.
I still do that. I do it all the
And hold
time.
on now.
I do it all
And
the
if
time.
it went to your reel, you say it's real deep.
I did that yesterday a couple
How deep
times.
is it? It's real deep.
Rob, how much did 360 make a difference when you and Paul went out the other week?
A huge difference. I will say 360 is pretty amazing. It did make a difference because Paul was, without giving up too much, he was targeting grass that I couldn't see. I was
You
fishing
see
the grass on the
grass.
surface. He was seeing clumps and was able to target them that I didn't even know were there. I mean, he showed me, of course. You know, he put me on them as well, but I would never known they were there if he didn't have his 360 on. So I will agree. 360 is pretty amazing. Like I would imagine you can go into, you probably done it, but you go into like the quarry or something and you can see logs and stuff everywhere that. I mean, like I have side scan. I have mega imaging and I have side scan, but it's not quite the same. Like you got to see it. Like it's.
You got birds on your boat, right? Hummingbirds.
Yeah, I got hummingbirds.
In the
I got
spring.
Helix 9s, and
Okay. So you got about what I got.
yeah,
I just
and they're
got the
mega
10.
imaging and all that, but I rarely cut them on as well.
Right.
In the spring, before the grass really got up thick, I could see spawning fish on the beds.
I wonder if they spawn out in that grass, right out in that flat.
Do you know where they
I bet they
spawn?
do.
Oh, hell yeah.
I haven't
found
used my
out-
sonar
I
since
found
I
a
got
lot of
out.
spawning areas this year.
Oh,
That's
yeah?
how I got the SQT fish.
Let me tell you,
spent 8
let me
days
tell
out
you,
there fishing. I found them.
I'm gonna give off some
I
real
found big
juice.
numbers of them.
I give off some real juice and a big secret.
We're about to drop some juice. Everybody listen closely.
When the spawn comes, just look at the spot that has 50 fucking boats on it every freaking spring, going around in a circle.
I found them this year. I went all the old spawning spots and everything that I do from history, a long time ago. And a lot of the fish were back on it, but they were only in like
In Middle River?
50-yard stretches, a lot of places. They were like, when you found, they were like 50-yard stretches.
Yeah.
It depends on what, like
You saw the beds?
North Bank or something like that. But most of the time I found them by catching them. You know, it's weird. When you go to the Senko out there and let it sit, you get a bite, then fish will rocket away from the bank like crazy. Because I think they're grabbing and trying to get away from other bass or whatever.
Oh yeah,
Or
definitely.
trying to move it or whatever. When they were real aggressive before, they were locked on the bed. But you catch them and bam, 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 bam. They stretch a 50-yard stretch. If you wouldn't catch none, the other 50 yards. And several areas, man, where the reed bank was right there, 50-yard stretch of reed bank. They would all be on that one bank.
When I went to Bass Fest up at Susquehanna Fishing Tackle, and Greg DePalma gave a seminar, and he's a hummingbird guy, and he said the number one question he gets asked, and I said this on the show before, was, would you get the Mega Live or whatever hummingbirds is, or 360? And he was like, 360. I cannot live without my 360.
All this shit is tons of money.
Yeah.
You know, to come out with a live target pole or whatever.
Oh, now you can
Actual
spot
live
lock or
target.
whatever.
It moves with the trolling motor. You turn it off. You can lock on your one spot. You can lock on
Right.
a spot.
You can lock on a fish now.
Yeah,
I
to
believe.
lock on a fish on a certain log and stuff like that. But that thing's $1,600
Right.
just for the pole.
Right. I paid $1,600 for my whole boat.
Yeah, so like, and that's where I try to draw a line too. Is I personally, how I feel is I need to get better at fishing with what I have before I can upgrade
I
either a
understand
boat or whatever the fuck is out there, whether it's 360 live scope or whatever. Because like at the end of the day, I'm in a 20-year-old boat with updated graphs and a moderately newer, older motor, right? So like, what am I really doing here? I'm fishing the club tournaments. I'm fishing the Thursday nighters, and a handful opens up on Conowego. Do I really need to go spend $70,000 on a brand new boat? No.
It's nice.
Sure. Like, am I going to use it? Absolutely. But it's like, I feel like I'm not good enough as a fisherman yet to warrant that level of
Boats
investment.
don't catch the fish.
Right.
Exactly.
Look at Keith Poche.
Look at me.
Sure.
Look at me when I got the
John
Mr. Bass.
Cox.
I rolled in with a rusty ass caravan and a 16-foot boat.
I still do.
$80,000 boats, $80,000 trucks and everything. 80-mile-an-hour boats and everything.
It doesn't matter.
I put it my 28 mile an hour back to my spot and caught fish.
Right.
And it actually, the only reason I got my boat I got now, my Triton, I wanted another bass boat, is maybe to make that run I wanted, and I had storage in my boat to store my rods
It's funny.
and
'cause that's
keep
what-
everything in my
that's what
boat
you
and
say
stuff. That was the main thing. My little boat didn't have no storage. My rods always sat on the deck. I had a box here with my stuff in it. Had to trip over that all the time. I was getting in
I
it.
know all about it.
But I love,
I love it.
I
know
love,
all about it.
I love it.
I
I
want
would
to trade.
love to
I
have
want to
both.
trade mine
I
for
would
a
love to have
freaking.
both.
I want to trade mine for a Z19 or anything else, dude. I got an aluminum boat with a jack plate and 40 horsepower. I can go wherever I want.
I will.
I ain't running no
I
big
will
motor, but-
never get rid of my John boat. I will own an
What?
express boat in the future.
Well, yeah.
Well,
Yeah,
I
or-
will never
Or a
get-
Ranger. Or a Ranger.
Or
well, we love
Ranger.
Ranger
or
boats,
Ranger,
dude.
That's
but
right.
I will never get rid of my John boat.
But you can't fish big derbies, is the thing.
Well,
Like, you
I
had to
I
get a bigger
70
boat.
mile, I had a, when I had my trait, when I was into the other tournament, the other club and everything, I was, for 5 or 6 years, I had a trait, and it was a 70 plus mile, 75 mile, 79 mile an hour boat, man. The thing was fast as shit. I could run anywhere. Guess what I did? I mostly turned them over, went 70 mile an hour for a quarter mile and sat
right.
down and fished.
Yeah.
That's what
yeah.
I did. Ran the same skinny shit. I ran my jet boat in.
Yeah.
Ran the same,
yeah.
fished the same shit.
Right.
The only thing the jet boat did is sometimes I couldn't make a line. It kept me close, which I think actually helped me fish better because I fished closer and more thorough and not as fast than jumping spots. Because I've been with guys, I tried to be a co-angler for a year and I couldn't do it because I fished with a guy, his style was different than mine.
Well,
Go to the marina, start catching fish. Oh, they're into size here. Boom. Take off and run somewhere. Run like 30 some spots a day. I said,
That's
didn't catch no
insane.
fish.
It's
I said,
insane.
nuts. When I was in Outcast, went Outcast for that as a co-angler. And one guy is, dude, this is nuts. I think I bought that cat. I didn't have, it was a rough time back in 09 and shit like that. I first cashed in my 401k and bought that jet boat.
oh,
I said,
dude,
I can't stand it. I
Hey.
can't stand being a co-angler.
I'll tell you what. Even when my motor's not running right,
Scott remembers I couldn't stand being a co-angler.
when my
Couldn't
outboard's
stand it.
not running right, I'll be like, well, it doesn't really matter. I got an idle out of there in a point park,
Yeah.
and that's it. And then I'm in some juice.
I had my John boat when I first started. I had Lock Raven stickers on it. Lock
Right.
Raven, you only Lock Raven, Pretty Boy, and Liberty, right?
Sure.
Guess what? I put them on laminate so I could peel them off.
Right.
and put them back on and go back to Lock Raven.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Yeah,
should have
that's
said
like
that.
We done talked about mustard gas bombs and military shells under the water and all kind of shit that we shouldn't. So that's what we do.
But
Our usual shenanigans.
we're at our 2 hour mark, 2 hours and 5 minutes. We're getting late.
$9
to the evening,
frog.
everybody.
Fishing third in
But,
the BFL against OK Rigs, priceless. Did you read Rob's comment?
Yeah, Rob's comment.
I can't put it. At that comment's priceless. 9K for a bass boat, 200 entry fee, $9 frog, fishing third in a BFL against OK Rigs. Priceless.
$60,000 rigs is what it says.
Yeah.
Oh, 60, I'm
60K
sorry. I'm
rigs.
sorry.
Rob got him
Priceless.
to that little ass Z7 or whatever he's got.
Oh,
Who the hell's got a $60,000 rig that's full size anymore? Ain't nobody. I was looking
That's
at,
cheap.
dude. I was looking at the nitros today. Jumped overnight. The
I
Z20
wouldn't buy a
Pro.
boat now.
The Z20 Pro's over 70 right
The
now.
crash is
Last
coming.
week it was like 58.
The crash is coming. Just save your money. It'll get
Paul
cheap.
said he ran 108 miles.
That's why you don't see it in my driveway yet. I'm ready, but it's like I have a hard
I
time.
told you about the G3 boats. I love the G3 boats.
Oh yeah, the G3.
Like the 1710 or 1810. They're
John
nice boats.
John Cox is.
I just have a hard time
Press line.
pulling the trigger right now when I know that I'm going to pay $10,000 more for a boat than I should.
10,
be
15,
paying for it.
$20,000
$15,000,
more.
$20,000.
I priced that X19 Pro up when I got my trade.
I've been looking
I was gonna
hardcore
buy-
at 'em.
It was $36,000.
What
for
size
X19
is your
Pro.
what size is your trailer?
What?
Shit, you ain't walking out with
Dude,
an
it's like
X19
60
Pro
now.
for anything less than
How much does
55
it cost you
grand
to
right
fill
now.
that up with
Period.
gas right now?
And that's
It's got
low.
a 50-gallon
That's
tank.
low.
I'll stick
But
to
I
that 2003
don't
nitro.
feel that. I
Yeah.
don't
I like
fill
it.
it up.
That's
I don't want
everything
it
I
that
want it to do.
I don't want it that heavy.
Right.
It's got a new
Done.
motor.
I'm just curious.
But the
50-gallon tank at
It's got
gas
battle
prices
scars
right now.
all over
Did
it.
you get that motor used, Scott? Because you.
But
I would,
never
love,
sold it
I would
up.
love to get an X19, but I think realistically,
Nitro,
my
that
budget and my
2000
fishing style, I
13.
don't need a freaking full
I think I
motor.
replaced the
I think
motor.
18 would
Then
be
last year it
done
blew.
for me, but-
They
You get an
rebuilt
H18 or
everything.
whatever, but you
Power
always max out
Put
your
all new
horsepower.
injectors on it.
Always
Yes,
max out your
always
horsepower.
And
max
it
out.
runs
All them
like a
boats are
champ.
showing them, the H18s are rated for 150.
The H18s
Everybody's
are
not
I don't
150.
like long runs.
They're rated for
anymore.
150.
I'm not into
What do they
that.
put on them?
And,
There was a
but the
time
dealership
when I was
only
your age,
allows you to
that I
pull
run
150.
30
I
miles.
wouldn't do that.
Right.
I
I thought there
order
was
with
fish.
150.
Now, I'll find a little
I just buy
Right.
X18 at that point. The
You used to run
X18
across
comes with the
Well,
back
they just
seat.
come out with that.
So I want to.
They just come out with the X18 this year.
The express boat is.
So
I
I
had
wanna-
one last year.
So I want to ask Greg and Scott because these guys have been around here for a long time.
This fucking chair is killing me, dude. Every time I lean over.
What do you guys, from where we fish? And Scott was just telling me a little bit about how his boat's, a little bit older. It's got a newer motor on it, right? Like, because I've been saying I'm going to get power poles, talons, whatever, for the last year, and it's just been a question of getting and sitting down and actually buying it.
I just
Right.
think that you
Like-
could more thoroughly fish if you upgraded something on your boat.
So-
Trolling motor or poles or
So,
something.
what's your opinion? Spot lock, both of you guys.
But
Spot
listen-
lock or poles?
I was looking at Duarte's boat
Scott.
yesterday. Duarte
Scott,
doesn't
Scott.
have a freaking Alltrex on his boat.
I don't think you need it.
I
Oh,
think he's got a Four-Trex on his boat, and he doesn't have poles on it either.
No,
He's
I
got one
talked,
pole.
I
One-
talked to him.
I don't have poles, but I'm putting some money away to buy poles.
I talked
Okay,
to him about his
because
boat yesterday.
because
so
poles,
I
like
didn't bring that up.
here's power poles. Power poles wouldn't have done nothing.
Yeah, good luck, Rob.
Only one time would power poles would help me in a tournament. When I went to Deep Creek, I fished Deep Creek, Mr. Bass at Deep Creek.
Good luck, Rob.
I was fourth place being day one. Fourth place. I was in a shooting distance, man, right there to win it, right? The next day, the wind picked up, blowing like living hell. Okay, go to fish my same stuff. The fish are still there. I could not hold on them shallow docks to get an accurate cast. I could have took in poles and parked my boat on the edge of them docks, put my poles down, and then skip them docks.
Mm-hmm.
But I couldn't because I got the Ultrex spot lock, trying to use spot lock, but the boat would be going all over the place, constant spot lock, and it had heavy wind. But if I would have had poles, I could have spot locked down up behind the docks and then cast up under them docks to get them fish. I was so frustrated after catching dinks the second day when I didn't catch no dinks the first day. And I was so frustrated I couldn't catch a fish. I told my co-angler, I'll get you fish. I'll get you on a state team. I was backing my boat in for him to cast under the docks and stuff, and he was catching the fish because I couldn't catch him because, he'd throw in there. I throw in there 10 times. He'd throw in there one time 4-pounder.
Mm.
And I said, I just can't hold it. And I got so frustrated. I said, I give up. Put my rod down, let back him in, held the trolling motor on high and shit, hold it just right. He's casted. He got second place and then got on the state team.
That's very respectable of you to do that.
But
Was
yeah,
it all large?
everybody-
All largemouth? Just
Yeah, shallow dock, 2-3 foot of water, shallow docks, and it was wind blowing so bad that I couldn't hold on there. Alltrex, the best thing of Alltrex, when it's windy out and everything, say up your kind of window fishing, it's wind blowing and everything. Okay, you're on a spot, you want to fish this point or whatever. You snag, break off. What would you do without Alltrex? Hurry up, try to tie as fast as you can and everything. Next thing you know, you're 50 yards down the bank and you're off your spot.
right. Sure.
Hit the spot lock, take your time, tie your bait because you're not moving.
Right.
You're right there. That's the best thing about a spot like there is.
And what about your opinion there, Scott? What do you think?
I put poles on my boat in 2013. I've had my boat since 2006. And I think that's the best thing for a bass boat next to a trolling motor.
Yeah.
And like Greg says, we fished Eastern Shore rivers a lot. Now, if it's deep water, you got to have the spot lock to do that.
Mhm.
But I'll move over close to the bank, drop them things, retie, whatever. I just love those poles. I've had the motors rebuilt on both of them, and they're working like a champ now. And I should knock on wood when I say it. I go out, the next trip, and one of them will go up. But I swear by power poles.
Now, what about talons? Either you guys have any experience with a talon at all?
I know only what I've read,
Towns are heavy.
that talons are heavy and they don't hold as good as, because they go straight down.
Right.
Power poles go out at an angle and come out at an angle, go down. So you're holding like this where talons go straight down.
Right.
And I heard they jam up too. They get
So
Yeah, you get a lot of because it's a retracted.
And one thing
system.
about power poles, and know the Raptors are copies of power poles.
Paul
But
says
Power Pole has the best customer service ever in the world.
That's
heard
what
that.
hear.
They,
That's what I hear.
dude, I had it on my jet boat. I had a power pole, the micro power pole, the little pole. Okay. And I'll tell you how good a service they got. We were down at Pocomo fishing.
I'll read the
I
comments.
took off, and I don't know if the pole went down because it just comes up as it was a stake It's just
Right.
come to power, little mini micro power pole.
Right.
I took off running and everything. I go to put my pole in. I look back, it's gone. It ripped off the back of the boat, the whole unit, the pole, everything.
the,
something I would do.
Shit.
the whole electronic motor, the whole thing.
Everything ripped off the back of it, the drive, the pole, everything.
Wow.
I said, I know I didn't hit it down. I wasn't even using it. So I don't know if I hit the button or was wearing it. Maybe I hit it and went down. I didn't know it and it
And just
took
kept
off.
going.
and ripped it off. But I called him up. I said, man, I don't know what happened. It must have went down by itself and ripped the whole back of it off and everything. 2 days later, I had a brand new one with a pole and everything sitting on my
Nice.
thing.
Okay,
$700 some dollars.
There's
So-
a lot of comments on this.
There's a
hot
lot
topic.
to say about that.
Yeah, this is
So
a hot
Frank
topic.
has a good comment on that, and I was actually talking to Frank a little bit about his boat yesterday, because so basically the whole reason why I lean towards the Talons is because the older Ranger boats, they don't have as much storage in the bilge for the pumps,
Yeah.
right? So that's kind of that's why a lot of the guys in the older Rangers will go with the Talon. But Frank says he has Talons and will buy poles, and that's pretty telling to me.
Yeah, he told me that.
Like,
And
Paul
it's one
said
thing
he
they're easy.
uses
No
his-
pumps is electric with a Talon. That's why I want it. I don't need pumps. I don't need that hydraulic fluid, hydraulic lines. I'll wire them up to my start battery, and there you go. It's easy as pie. But there's throwbacks from it. They're okay, but they're also heavier and they don't work the same.
right.
To
Yeah.
Reed Kevin's. Paul said that he uses his poles 10 times more than Spotlock.
So and
And
Paul has a
2
good-
inches. I mean, 2 feet.
I got a
Right.
stake. I bought a $70 stake it. I have it. You can see it on the deck of my boat next to my rods. If I've really got to stake down like a fish, and I did it this year, fish is spawning fish. The wind was blowing. I'd stake them down in front of my spot where I could cast 25 yards this way, 25 yards that way. I'd stake it down and I'd sit there and just hold on it so I wouldn't be blown up on top of the spawning fish. Now, if I would have had fire poles, I would have went click, stop me. Okay, they stop biting here, drift over, stop them, pull down, and fish the other side. Right, well, wouldn't have to go like this, pull the stake out of the thing, butt on the end of it, shake the butt off of it, and get butt on the back of my boat because you're on this, put it back in the boat.
I have the manual little stake thing too.
Yeah, how's that work? Because I might put that on mine.
So, dude, it's
I had
great.
to
It's
get a
really,
micro
it's
power
just, it's
pole.
an
I think
8
it's
foot,
great
with
on
the
a
little
small
box,
boat,
yeah?
on a small
I
boat.
might get one of those.
it's
Yeah,
an
it's
8
great
foot
on my
spike
boat.
with a
It's just like a
handle.
big one,
Right.
but it will hold a small boat. If you're anything under like 16, 17, it's under 17
Yeah, I'm
feet,
at 16
it works
now.
great. It works just like the big power.
I might get one of those.
And
But you have to buy
you get
2
one
of them
or
if you
you-
want to hold yourself straight.
Well,
Well, you're going to pivot on one.
It would pivot a little bit. It would pivot in a lot of wind, but it's still better than nothing or staking out.
Yeah, I'd
Yeah.
say so.
I know one buddy.
Nothing ain't working too good. So.
Yeah.
The one guy with all the tattoos. Remember, he's in our club. What was his name? He's got a little boat. He's got 2 micros on the back, and you can sync them together.
Right.
Now, what the thing with the
Oh,
micro
that
is it's
would
an
be cool.
8 foot stake, so when you're running it with it up, it's way the hell up there. So can you
Yeah.
like
I
lean it
went
down?
under Bush Creek Bridge with it one time.
So there's I don't know if you guys have ever watched Tiny Boat Nation.
Yes, all
Yeah.
the time.
That's
So
a
they have
fantastic.
guys on there that actually have made like power poles for tiny boats.
Yeah,
Like,
man.
Yep.
yeah, they took like hydraulic motors or whatever
Yes.
and pumps and actually made.
It's a lot of work.
That's
Yeah,
pretty
Yeah,
cool.
but I'm just saying it can be done, but-
8-foot poles on a 17-foot boat.
But the
I've
micro,
seen them.
yeah, but that's like a
Well,
wide
over.
body boat. That's not. Yeah.
$4,000 poles. Yeah.
But no, the micro poles are pretty cool. But you're right, they do kind of stick really high
Yeah.
up in the
Like
air.
you're going, if you're running like bridges or something, like if you're running, just
Yeah.
take the pole out of it and send it
just
to the bottom of
slides
your
on
boat.
out.
It comes right out. Just
Yeah.
walk it
I
out.
might get those.
So,
I might look at
the only
those.
issue-
You can get a manual one where it's like I have the one where it's just a mount on the back, and I just take it, I pull it out, and just slide it in there, and then I just jam
Well,
it.
there's
into
nothing
the
like
mud.
having it on your thing on a remote.
Yeah, or you can have it on a
Yeah.
remote where you just. and
It
goes
was
down.
great on my small boat. Dude.
Yeah.
It was
See, my
great.
only issue is I would have to make room in the bilge for poles. But if I were to get those smaller lithium
If
batteries,
you go to lithium, you can make it.
exactly.
Yeah.
So that's
Well, other people, like you say, where's your battery charger at? Sitting in the spot down at the bottom.
Mhm.
Well, a lot of guys have taken their chargers and mounted them up underneath the flip deck in the back. Carl Jackson went went through his boat because he had X2s and everything in his boat. The X2 was the big ass battery,
right.
X2 power. Well, he mounted his charger on the lid
Hmm.
underneath. So when he flips it open, the charger's
Charge is right there.
up in the air,
Huh.
something like that. So it's
That's
out of
interesting.
the way. I was thinking about doing something like that, or get,
That's kind of cool.
well, power pole charge, that's the best thing, but you can't get one, they're like $1,400 at their price. So
That's like the charging system, right?
That's the charging
It runs
system. It's real
everything's all
small.
linked
It's only this
together.
big.
Yeah.
but I got the big Minn Kota charger. I wish I would have
That's what I
got
got
a
a Minn
smaller micro charger. I want to get a smaller
I
charger.
got the two
So I
bank.
got a smaller charger, I got plenty of room to put pole pumps in.
I get two bank. I just use it on my trolling motor. It's 24 volts. I don't have
Yeah.
nothing for my crank. Come home, plug it up, charge.
Well,
the
I got
trolling
it.
motor
I got it.
batteries.
I got an X2 power starting battery, which that thing is amazing. X2 power, it's big as shit and heavy. But that thing,
Wait a minute, do you have lithium trolling motor
Yeah.
batteries yet?
no, I can't justify
I can't afford
the
that
cost.
shit, dude.
I can't justify the cost. I got 8 Duracell, Sam's Club Duracell AGMs,
I got
2
I
of them,
got-
and they've been great. And the big X2, so I still got the 24 volt.
It makes a big difference.
What's the
in a job
lithium
where we need to
batteries?
save
Like
weight.
800 a piece?
No. The
Yeah,
Ionic. So
Ionic 50 amp hours, you're looking at like $300 or $350 a piece for 50 amp hours.
$699. I think Pulse is going for.
Yeah.
The only
That's
so the
battery
thing-
out there.
$699.
So-
$300 ain't that bad. $699.
yeah,
I
but
can't
one
justify the
battery.
cost.
Yeah,
That's
probably
not a 24 volt, right? That's a 12 volt.
but here's the
You
thing
get 'em,
though,
you can
like
get them and you get one battery up to 36 volt before you have the different clusters.
Oh,
So you
wow.
get one 36 volt, one 24
That's
volt.
kind of cool.
But you gotta
150
watch, you gotta
amp
know what you're
Yeah.
doing with lithium
oh yeah,
because
big time.
sometimes if the amp hours ain't right, they'll be dead. Because once the lithium starts
It's
going
dead.
down,
Like-
it's
like
dead,
a drill.
like a drill.
Yeah.
And
There's no
you know how
warning.
drills are.
There's-
When it's dead, it's dead.
Yeah,
It's not like the
it's
old
dead.
batteries where it started like not
That's
being
why-
able to-
You get
That's
more
why the
life
guys
out of
running
that, though,
lithiums-
in my opinion.
Lithiums are running powerful charges when they're up running, they're charging back into the system.
Right.
And they can see on their app exactly where their batteries are at all the time.
Yeah.
That's one of the
It
best
ain't
part
for-
about the Ionics is
ain't
going on
for-
your phone and
It
seeing
ain't for a
that
low
information.
budget boat, in my opinion. It ain't for a low budget. Man.
Ain't
If
for
you're
my
low
boat,
budget,
that's for
just
sure.
get yourself some tried and true
Everstar's.
interstates or the Duracell.
Fucking chairs coming. Can I get a beer, dude?
had enough. But
I got enough of this fucking chair, dude.
so
I rig all my own stuff. I wire my own boats.
Me
I got
too.
standalone harness.
Well, you're up, Chad. Do you mind if I get?
I
You
got a
know
standalone
why,
harness and everything. I wired all my graphs to a standalone
Thank you.
harness, standalone cutoff switch.
Well, you're a mechanic
Yeah,
by
that's
trade.
easy. That's the easiest
Yeah.
stuff in the world. Boat stuff is the easiest stuff in the world to do.
So I did my whole boat, built my decks, everything, and believe it or not, my biggest YouTube video that I have is a walkthrough of my boat. It's like 10,000 views. Best video I ever did. The ones of me catching fish, nobody gives a shit.
Mine's a
I
low.
can-
Just walking
mine's a
around my
low
boat
unit
and
oil
showing
change.
it,
I
like-
got the most views on
I
it, like
care.
1,500 views
Yeah.
on top of the oil change.
Yeah, right. That's the
Yeah.
kind of stuff that people
How
want to see.
tos are the biggest videos on YouTube.
Yeah.
I mean,
No,
that's
you
what-
just gotta
I
do
use-
some dumb
I use
shit,
YouTube
like,
to learn how to fix
If we sneak in Aberdeen right now and catch like one of those mustard fucking gas bombs, that video would be like fucking huge. We'll have millions of views. Black helicopters flying around.
you'd be getting a knock.
Right, but we be popular YouTubers if we do something like
Actually-
that. Let alone go catch like a 8-pound bass.
So I had one more topic that I totally forgot because we were going off topic. We got a little bit more time, so I guess we'll talk about it. So just real quick, maybe 10 minutes or so, right? We mentioned it before we went live.
We might as well go 2.5 hours.
How do you compete? How do you
Right,
compete
well, right.
against guys that are able to fish 3-4 days, full days before a tournament?
Right.
Can't.
You can.
I'm on the same. I believe the same thing. I think anyone can get lucky at any time.
Yeah.
However, I think that's part of the reason why I don't fish a lot of opens on the bay, because any open, there's a multitude of guys that are going to be out there at a
Every
minimum
day.
3 or 4 evenings.
They're
A
on their
day.
fish every day.
On the same tide.
Tracking
That's-
their fish every day.
Then you can figure out what the tide would be at the tournament and know what tide to pre-fish on.
Sure,
Yeah.
Yep.
But
Plus,
shit
they're
still
good.
changes.
Right.
It still
They're
changes.
good. Anyway.
but because they're there all the
Yeah,
time.
they're good.
Well, time on the water is
Well, it's like us and the gunpowder, right? I mean, it's like we fish.
I
the
didn't think
gunpowder,
much
huh?
about pre-fishing. I always thought myself that I wing it. Scott said,
That's what I do.
Give
That's
it a
what I
couple
say.
more, I just wing it. I
Say
just
the
fish.
same
Oh,
exact
yeah, it
thing.
looks good. I'll go fish it. I usually do well,
Mhm.
but I wanted to really do well in SQTs and stuff like that. I spent like 7 days out there in the spring looking at everything, looking at my old stuff, just fishing and just looking for stuff, pre-fishing, and looking for different spots and backup spots. And it paid off with a fourth place.
Really?
It paid off. And
Did you almost have lunker? You were real close if you didn't have it, right? Or did you have lunker?
You're talking about pre-fishing when you don't.
yeah, because
normally
I had a
pre-fish.
club tournament the day before, and I used that as a pre-fish, and I caught some fish and left different spots, and I caught 3.5 pounders and stuff like that. Dude, if I would have caught them I caught 2 good fish in a 5-fish limit, 2 good fish, and I had 2.5 pounders or something like that. If I would have caught the quality fish I caught the club tournament, I'd have won the whole tournament. Because I had 17, I would have had 19 pounds easily. If
Man,
you know,
15 pounds
eight,
really
about
ain't
20
shit.
pounds, I easily would have had it.
15 pounds ain't shit, right? God damn it, chair ain't shit, dude.
I'm just there, bro.
Every time I try to lean over it.
But 15 pounds is a lot when
It
you
is.
can't run all the way to the flats, or
No,
run
I
to
agree.
the flats are bloody.
Yeah.
You can't
It's a
run to the flats. You got to
15
stay
pounds.
local and figure something out.
15 pounds ain't shit is a bullshit fucking comment. to make
Yeah,
for
Paul
so
Bauer
long.
said it took 20 pounds to win. Yeah, I weighed 17 something, and yeah, I
Remember
easily,
the-
if I had to fish, I could have had.
How about the
20 pounds.
last chance last year when a guy comes in with 21 pounds and everyone's like, wow, that's going to win it. Then what's his name comes in with 22 out of the other river over there on the eastern shore. I was like, holy
You did that.
shit.
You did that to people last night, dude.
Well, not really.
Yeah, you did.
Not really. I don't
I'm
think.
telling you, you did, dude.
Dude,
They were like, oh man, I was only like never mind. Dude.
Never
mind. Yeah. You just came out of nowhere, like, oh, look what I got.
All right, y'all. I am cutting out this podcast. We've been on here for almost 2.5 hours now, talking about some
Middle River
really,
bass.
really good juice. I want to say thank you to our guest Scott Sewell
yeah, thanks a
and
lot,
Greg
guys,
Hall for coming on tonight and talking to
It was
us
fun,
and
man.
giving us some good juice, some good tips, talking about some of your experiences through your bass stocking program.
Wait,
and,
before we shut it down real quick, what time of year do you do the stocking? Are you
In the
looking
fall.
for volunteers?
In the fall.
Well,
We're
how-
always looking for volunteers.
Maybe we can have you back on right before you do it.
Sure.
Is there a way
Be happy
that
to come back.
is there a way that we can is there like a donations page or anything like that going on for
I have
to help it out?
brochures, and I'll get some to you next Thursday.
Okay.
Yeah, we can help you out. We'll maybe set something up
Yeah,
on the
it'd be
Facebook page
fantastic.
or something.
I
Yeah.
love it. I'm all in for that. I would
Usually
like to
we have a
involve-
little orange bucket. I've just been forgetting to bring it to the threefers, and guys will throw in $20-$30 and
Yeah, I did last year. I remember doing
yeah,
that.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
our first one, somebody gave me $20 at our summer solstice, handed me $20, and this is for the stocking fund. And I like to write down everybody who donates and put their name on our flyer. I think it might have been Evan's brother. He was there.
Phil.
It might have been Phil. Or it might have been Evan. You know how there's a million things going on.
Yeah.
And somebody said, "Hey Scott, here's $20 for the stocking program."
I think it was me, dude.
I
I did.
No,
So,
I remember he was tall.
oh, okay, it wasn't
But
me then.
no.
Tall,
And,
blonde, and handsome.
Definitely not me.
And by the way, the River Rats donated $100
Oh, there you
to
go.
the program.
Paul's Club.
I tell you,
That's awesome.
just to name some of our bigger sponsors, Vince's Crab House.
Mhm.
And it's good if we all can patronize these places
Yeah.
because they're supporting us.
Yeah.
You know, and when you go in and say, "Hey, look, the only reason I'm here, I don't usually come here, but I'm here because you guys are supporting our stocking program."
We got drunk with Vince last
Oh.
night.
Like I said,
Hell
Vince's, Albright's, Mechanical in Essex.
Oh, really? Yeah.
Premier Marine.
Uh-huh.
They've always been a big sponsor for a long time. And we have several individuals who've given hundreds of dollars. They believe in it.
I
you know,
believe in
and
it.
I believe in it too.
I do as
And
well.
Proves
I can
importance
account
as well.
for every penny that's ever been donated. And I can assure everyone that every penny that's donated is spent only on the purchase of fish. We take any expenses that are related, our club, MR Bass, picks up that. And there's really not much. A couple of years we bought lunch for volunteers. We were really busy for a long day. Oh, and the Marine Trades Association of Baltimore County gave us a big donation this year, the biggest donation we've ever got. So there's
Who was it? I'm
the
sorry.
Marine Trades Association of Baltimore
Biggest
County.
donation you ever got?
Yeah, $2,500.
Oh wow!
They
Wow.
gave us this
Oh,
year,
wow.
which is pushed. Usually we have about 4,000 or 5,000 that we collect over the year.
Yeah.
And I go around knocking on doors of businesses and asking them for donations.
Well, we're going to try to raise some money for it.
Yeah,
No, that would be
Yeah.
great. The more money raised, the more fish we stock. It's cut and dry.
The proof is in the
My
pudding,
time is
Scott.
all volunteer.
Yeah.
Everybody volunteers. Nobody's paid. We don't have an office space or any other expenses. Like I said, if there are some minor expenses, maybe a couple of years we bought nets to get them out of guys' live wells to make sure they had, didn't have to keep handling all these smaller fish. The MR bass is funded that. And we make our money through threefers and for the big fish and flea market that we have.
Right.
The
Yeah.
first
yeah.
the first Saturday in March every year. we
Yeah, I
have
was
that.
there.
Yeah, it's great. And that's another thing. Like the threefers where you see all your buddies and you get to interact. That fish and flea market is like that too. Guys will come in and hang around for
Yeah.
hours because they're seeing all
After
their
winter
friends.
time,
Yeah.
everybody's been out. And
Yeah.
first-
Yeah.
I had to leave early because I was hungover, but no, I'm just kidding. It's too early in the morning. So yeah, push that sucker back. So no, I'm just kidding.
But nobody knows. Nobody knows how much Scott does for Bass Nation and bass fishing in his state for years.
Yeah.
Nobody even knows what he does. He's the backbone, basically, of the Bass Nation, really,
Yeah.
with the conservation and everything. It's like
When
he
I-
does so much. It's crazy.
When I wanted to start a club, which I didn't follow through on, but I reached out to Scotty. 100%
Yeah.
was there trying to help me.
He got me
very,
into it.
very good dude. Probably one of the only people that really are looking out for.
Yeah.
I call us the Middle Bay region, but yeah, Dundee, Middle River, and all that. He's
Yeah.
bringing it back thanks to you guys.
Yeah.
And
The
I
Thursday
really honestly-
nighters, you gave me a reason to look forward to a Thursday.
Right.
I can't wait till next Thursday.
Yeah.
I know.
We love it.
I
Yeah,
look
we
forward
love
to it too.
Yeah, it's
And
good
I
time.
It's just so much
Yeah.
fun. I get to see all these different guys,
And we all wait all week for it. I
every-
can't wait till next week.
there's
I
I know
hope Tony gets second.
we but no, it's a great bunch of guys that are fishing. We've had zero problems.
No,
You
it's
know,
all
how
fun.
sometimes guys will get in big arguments and stuff.
It's not a
It's-
lot of
it's
money
not like that.
involved.
We
It's
have
not.
We all know each other. We all get along. And
Yeah.
if someone new comes around, we welcome in with open
One
arms,
time,
dude.
With open
Yeah.
arms.
last
Yeah.
year, I had to disqualify one boat because he was
Little Bradley, we know all
running
about
on a
it.
plane,
Yeah,
and he was
yeah.
very nice. He said, "All right,
Little
I
Bradley, if
understand
you're
why I'm
watching,
being
dude.
DQ."
You know what?
And
He
he had
called,
fish too.
he called an 8-pounder today.
He would have had
He-
first
he's
place
not
in
mad.
that tournament.
So he was really cool about it because I hate to go up to people, but I'm the president of the club, so it falls
You
on
have
me.
to do what
You
you
gotta
got to
handle
do.
what
And
you
I
gotta
got to be
handle.
the bad guy and say, "Hey, look, we're going to have to DQ you," and that's only fair to everybody else.
True.
Because if everybody else is obeying the rules,
You have to as well.
you have to DQ.
The rules
somebody
are the
that
rules.
doesn't.
The rules are the
Exactly.
rules.
Or else
Oh,
they're not
like-
gonna come back if
I'll
you're
tell
gonna
you
let
what.
people violate them. You know,
When we did the last one last year, the one you guys won, I believe, the last
Yeah,
one.
the last one.
Yeah, I was sad after that, dude. I was like, damn, I wish we had one next week. And we
I
did
know,
it.
right?
It was like, it brought me down a
Yeah.
little bit. I was like,
Yeah.
oh, man.
I was like after the fall, like I was talking to you guys last night. I was going to talk to you about Scott. Maybe we would do like a tournament like
On the
on a
weekend?
Sunday afternoon, like late in the year, like a 12 to 4.
I'm not opposed to this because we have help.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh.
Jay
We were
Neesman
talking
and
about
Darwin
this.
Yes.
are there at every tournament,
Let's get in on that.
and we have 20 members.
We're
in our
talking
club.
about this.
Yes, yes.
We have a closed limit of 20 members in our club, and I got like 6 guys I can count on
Yeah.
to help, and that's kind of frustrating. Like this coming Thursday, Jay can't be there; he's on vacation, so I got to get somebody to help, and I'm going to get there
Help what with
early
the weigh-in?
to sign people up.
Hey, if anybody can
And,
help with the weigh-ins, let us know. They're looking for help with the weigh-ins on Thursday. Maybe
Well,
somebody's watching
it's
that might.
it's our club, and our
So
club
you
members
can't
should be
just-
there to do it.
Well, I understand that, but if you can't find anyone,
And I know, like Clayton's
I was just
stepped
about to
to the
say,
plate
Clint, yeah.
with that scale that day. I mean,
Yeah.
that
Big time.
totally caught us off guard. Just like the dead batteries in this new scale Thursday.
my 2-pounder weighed like 4 pounds. I was like, put it back in the river, quick.
Here we spend $550 to get a brand new scale, and it even says these batteries are good for 1 year. Put them in there, and what were they good for? 2 times?
A week,
Right.
2
I
weeks.
think
I bought a whole box of ever
Did it
ready,
work?
so we're good.
Did
from
it
now
work,
on.
Scott? Did you put them in there yet?
I haven't put them in
Put
yet.
them in there
Clint-
and check it.
Clint
Yeah.
is like the
I will.
superhero of Team Outcast, like for real. Like,
Clint's the
Clint's
president.
he's
of Team
like
Outcast.
the funniest
He's
person
a,
you
he's a
ever
great guy.
Dude, that's what I talked because you said Chuck Tony was president.
back in the
He used to
day.
be.
I gotta tell you, that was
Charlie, when first Charlie Dowthery is the one who started.
I knew Chuck Tony when I
Chuck
was like,
Tony took it over after Charlie got out.
So Chuck was the president when I got in, and then like that year, Chuck fished like 1 or 2 tournaments, and then
Yeah, Chuck
Clint took it.
I knew Chuck when I was like 11 years old, dude.
when
Yeah, we
Charlie
skate-
Dowthery, when
Chuck,
Outcast
Chuck's
first
a
started,
skater, dude.
that was a hammer club.
Chuck-
dog.
There was like 30 boats back
30
then.
some boats, hammer club.
Chuck's working with Jason Chapman, Charm City, so I'm a skater
Yeah.
by nature. Him, Jason are working together.
You know what?
All those dudes, dude. I come from a skateboarding background.
Yeah, Chuck.
I was semi-pro. It's the whole thing. But like Chuck was a skater back in the day.
you know what I wish?
I didn't even know he
Yeah,
bass
he
fished.
was.
And then like years later, I found out he bass fished, but then he had stopped
Right.
when I got back into it.
You know what I wish I knew about, and we'll fill this before Chad comes back because I know he's trying to clear it out. But I wish I knew about Team Outcast Juniors when I was growing up as a
Yeah.
kid.
Yeah, I
like-
ran it.
Dude, I had no idea. Like, when I thought, and this was not long ago. I'm 24 years old. I bought my Ranger when I was 18. Horrible financial decision. The worst financial decision you can make, and I made it. And it ended up working out, but I don't advise that to anybody. But I thought in order to get into bass fishing, you needed a boat.
No.
So I went out and bought a boat.
Right?
And I was like, okay, I'm going to go buy this boat because this is what I need to get started.
But how
then-
old were you?
I was 18.
18.
Look,
Yeah.
and I'm aware. I'm aware
Horrible
that I
financial
can join
decision.
as a rider, and I
I still
still
got the webpage up.
I've looked
Half
at
them kids are hammers right now.
You're
Right.
Dustin
bad, dude.
Bronson.
That's what I'm
Look.
saying. Duarte's
Look.
on there.
Look at little
Like-
Mikey right in the front row. Mikey
John's
Duarte,
probably
Johnny
there, too.
Duarte. Yeah,
That's what I'm
Johnny
saying.
Mikey.
Like, I would have loved to have been
My
involved in
2
that.
kids.
Like, I had no idea that was a
Dude,
thing.
I had an 8-foot dinghy boat that I built a little deck on the front with a trolling motor.
I didn't
dude.
even
Swear to
know.
God, I was like not even. I was probably 16.
I would have been a co-angler starting at like 15 years old when I was a kid growing up.
I
just
would.
didn't
That's
I
know.
lived on
Mikey?
the river.
Johnny. That's Nick
that's
Dietrich.
Duarte.
Dietrich. Yeah,
Let me
that's
see.
Mikey.
Holy shit!
That's Mikey. That's Johnny.
How old is Mike?
I think he's my age. He's like 24,
Yeah.
25.
Damn,
something
Mike
like
was
Duarte
young as
is
hell,
24, 25.
I think
He's younger
so.
than I am.
I think so. Yeah.
And
He's
then
like my
we
age,
even had
for
more
sure.
kids the next year after that. Justin
Because
Bronson was in there.
I fished against him in a college tournament, and he ended up winning it down at Smith Mountain Lake before I didn't know how to fish at all.
Sorry,
But,
Mike. I thought you was like 32.
Johnny.
Paul, I
Johnny
don't
won
want
the
to jumped
world.
off, but good luck
He
tomorrow.
won the
Paul,
world
if you're still on
championship.
here.
He's got a big like classic Bassmaster Classic shirt. He won it with
Hey, good
Kids
night,
World
Martin.
Championship.
Hey, see you, Pete.
But,
Everybody's signing off, saying good night.
but I guess we
Yeah,
should.
shut
I guess
it
we
all
ought to
down.
close it out because
Yeah. Well, I just want to wrap it up tonight saying thank you to Greg Hall and Scott Sewell for coming out and talking to us tonight, giving us some information.
You get
some
the
good
golf
juice.
clap.
And we really look
My
forward to
pleasure.
this. This went really well. I also want to say a big thank you to the people that sponsor us and help us out. We got if you guys haven't already done this, go to Tailored Lures on Facebook or Instagram. Get in contact with Warren Taylor and get yourself some Tailored Lures frogs. Just fantastic quality frogs, small profile, sharp hooks. Fantastic colors, great color selection. I can't say more than enough good things about their frog. Also, Bass Munitions Lures. Go there. All your flipping plastics, your drop shot worms, you name it. Plastic wise, they got it. Larry's working on jig heads and stuff right now too. Fantastic products. He supported us all ever since we started. Thank you to Larry Payne and Bass Munitions Lures, and another huge shout out to our buddy Tyler with UMA Lure Company. We got some some of the most badass crankbaits on the market. He sent us to them for testing and
Soft.
reviews,
Real soft.
and they are some of the best deflective crankbaits on the market. And I am giving up juice by telling you guys this, but if you guys don't go to umaluco.com and get some of these crankbaits, I'm telling you, you're just simply missing fish. I mean, he's got all different designs, fantastic colors, foil wrapped, good clear coat, owner stuff. I think it's owner
Flat side.
STs on there, owner split rings on there. Great quality crankbaits. Can't say enough great things about them. All right, guys. I appreciate everybody
Bass.
for tuning in. Oh yeah, MR Bass. Thank you so
Thanks
much
again for you guys for doing the
Yeah,
Thursday
man.
nighters, man. It's a
the
blast.
Thursday nighters is also
Anytime.
MR Bass.
Oh.
Everything Scott and Greg and all the guys do for what we do out here.
And I posted a new video tonight. So we
And-
were here. So check out my new video, Riverboat Rob. Enjoy
Riverboat
it. You're in it.
Rob on
Oh,
You're in
YouTube.
Oh shit!
Man.
I should watch it then.
Check out
Guys are
Riverboat
in
Rob's
this one.
new video on his YouTube page. And we'll be seeing you guys later on this week. We got the Thursday nighter coming up. I would love to go live again on like a Tuesday or Wednesday before the Thursday
might do
nighter.
like,
go over some talk, maybe some bait discussion or something like
I don't know if
that.
you want to put it out there, but like a tackle Tuesday thing. It's a whole
Yeah.
thing. We'll see.
Like,
We'll see.
We're
More
gonna
information
get
coming
into
soon.
it. More information
Yeah.
coming soon, and obviously we'll be live Thursday night for the lay-ins, and then we'll be live again on Friday to
Absolutely.
give up all the juice from the Thursday night tournament. So thanks everybody for watching.
Thanks again, everybody.
Bass and
Appreciate you.
Beer Radio. Like, follow, subscribe. Peace, everybody.